And what is up? Welcome back. It's Friday night. You're here with the Average Boys podcast. It's your boy Crispy. And right now, at the moment, I am here, sitting here by myself. Right now, we are waiting for Brian to be coming in. He had a little gig that he said he's going to be late, and Trigger will not be with us tonight. He is at work. So it's going to be me for the first, I don't know, maybe 15, maybe 20 minutes with you guys. I just want to say thank you for tuning in to all our. We have some watchers already in the comments, and just want to say thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate every one of you, and yeah, I hope your week was good, and welcome back to the show. So this past week was pretty good for me myself. It was pretty chill. We had the last two, well, actually the main days of Anime Fiesta were Saturday, Sunday, which turned out to be pretty good. A lot of great people showed up, a lot of our good friends, a lot of cool cosplayers, a lot of cool builds. Which really inspired us. I had a friend of mine show up. His name is Oz Cosplay. He used a costume that we had talked about a while back, which was Namor from the Marvel Universe. And he got first place in the competition Saturday. And it really got a fire under me, man. I want to start trying to see if we could build again. So me and Oz were talking about it, and some of the other cosplayers that we're pretty good with. We all came together and we said we're going to do a cosplay. And what I'm going to plan on doing, I'll go ahead and not put it up because I'm not scared, because I ain't a wuss. I'll show you guys what I am planning on cosplaying for South Texas Comic Con. What it's going to be is, let's see. Screen one. Aaron from League of Legends. This guy. Planning on doing this guy's costume, at least one of them. So this is one of the characters I'm planning on building. Pretty cool dude. Not nothing too fancy, not nothing too hard for me. If not him, I'm gonna do another guy named Darius. I'm gonna be doing this cosplay. So yeah, nothing too bad, nothing too crazy. Big shoulder pads, very Warhammer. I'm really into the whole really into large armor builds myself. So this would be a really fun, I guess, just a really good opportunity for me to get back to building. This is a character I'm going to be doing for South Texas Comic Con this year. It'll be a pretty crazy build. The shoulder pads are pretty big, very Super Mario Brothers, very Koopa Bowser-ish. But he has such a rad costume design and hammer and design, or axe design. I think it's super cool. But yeah, that's what we're going to be planning for South Texas Comic Con. So hope it turns out really well. Hope it turns out really well. Other than that, it was just a pretty basic week. I was doing a commission build and some other good stuff. But yeah, like I said, Brian will be here in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So yeah, I hope you guys are having a good time. What else was going off this week? I know there was something going on. I know we're going to be talking about, of course, the Deadpool cameos that are going on with the film that's Deadpool 3 that's going to be coming up. The Marvels. Yeah. So the thing that I heard recently, which was very interesting, was that for the Marvels film, they're going to be doing this thing where the main villain is taking resources from other planets, or I heard multiverses, which is very weird for the Marvels movie. And at the very end, they're apparently going to start introducing Galactus and all this stuff. This is something that I heard that's kind of whack and very weird, because of the fact that the main villain of the Marvels universe, or the Marvels film that's going to be coming out, she is absorbing resources for a dying world or something like that she's in the Marvels, that she's blaming Carol Danvers' character for. She calls her something like the Annihilator, or she calls her something like that, meaning in the fact that when Carol Danvers did damage in her film to the world or to their people, that it kind of messed up their stuff. But Galactus's whole like mission is to absorb resources from other dying planets, steal their resources, and then leave them for dead, which is kind of weird because it's what the villain's doing in this film. And I feel like the problem with Marvel is what they're doing is again, they keep kind of like calibrating or remodifying these characters that they bring into the films, and they end up putting them like they end up giving other people's powers to other characters, and then when it comes through and they want to actually get the rights or they get the opportunities to actually bring those original characters in, they really can't do much, which is the problem with like World War Hulk and Planet Hulk and stuff like that. They wanted to give the Planet Hulk storyline to World War storyline in the comic books is really, really good. But they ended up using the story for Planet Hulk. Well, parts of it cut up and put apart on all these different ways in Thor Ragnarok, right? And now they're talking about doing a World War Hulk film, which in the comic book, when the Illuminati sends Hulk off planet to get rid of him because they can't control him, and Bruce Banner does not have control of his Hulk. The Illuminati figures out like, oh, okay, cool. Let's throw him off world. We'll send him off to a planet that he could survive on by himself. There's no like cognitive life, only animals, so he can hunt and eat and all that stuff and survive. He ends up derailing because he throws a fit in space because he gets mad because he knows the plan that's against him. And then then he lands on a planet called Sakaar, which is, of course, where Thor Ragnarok was. And in the comic books, it's way different. They put it's kind of the same and kind of different because in Thor Ragnarok, we see that the Hulk is in this like gladiatorial world, right? And it's the same concept because it wasn't Thor in the comic books. That's the other Avenger character. I believe it's the Silver Surfer. That's the character that's there with him. And then in the animated series, they made a Planet Hulk movie that was really well done. Really, really well done. If you get a chance, you should totally check it out. I recommend it. In that story, it's Beta Ray Bill. Now, that's another character that should be coming out soon also in the Thor world. But for them to do like a Planet Hulk, it would have to be a story based on the Hulk in that world. Like being a part of the Sicarian gladiator thing run by the Grandmaster, right? But the problem is in the original story, the gladiatorial wars and stuff like that on Sakaar are run by this guy called the Red King, and he did like this like horrible, this horrible what is it like a I don't know. He planned like a horrible events against the people of the planet, and it ended up killing like a fuckload. Yo, what's up, Mark? How you doing, man? We got Brian coming in a little bit and triggers off today, so I'm just doing a small intro, just talking about stuff. Not really covering the talking points we're going to be talking about today. Just little rumors and stuff. Hope you're doing good. How was the South Texas International Film Festival? I saw that you were out there doing interviews and stuff. Good job, dude. Good job. Right now what I'm talking about is that I heard a rumor about the Marvels movie that's going to be coming out with Brie Larson and Amelie, I can't even remember her name, Miss Marvel, and Monica Rambeau's character, right? Apparently the villain's going to come in and she's going to have like these powers that open up wormholes and steal resources from like planets. Now, the crazy thing is there's not a lot of characters in the Marvel universe. Oh, yeah. That's right. The makeup artist that was there. Yeah. Hey, man, that's super badass. Well, good job, dude. Good job. That's a badass gig. I like that kind of stuff, man. Well, for the film that I was talking about, the Marvels, they have the villain that's stealing resources from different planets using the gauntlet. I guess the opposite gauntlet of what Miss Marvel's gauntlet from Emiliani's show, right? The Miss Marvel Disney show. But what's crazy is she's stealing resources, and at the end of the series, apparently, or at the end of the show, movie, or whatever, there's supposed to be like an after series credit that's supposed to be about like introducing Galactus, because me and Brian had talked about this a long time ago when it came through for the D23 right after they did Endgame, and they were talking about like, guys, we're planning our next phases, and it's not going to be 10 years. It's going to be like 6 because time, or, you know, the actors or whatever. And Brian and I agreed that 6 years would have been a pretty good run for the Marvel universe. But I think that was way too grand of a scale for them to kind of say it would be done in 6 years, because they ended up saying that the final product was going to be Secret Wars. And I mean, Brian and I and Trigger know that Secret Wars is probably one of the most like one of the biggest arcs in the Marvel comic book universe. Like, some people like it, some people don't know what Marvel's doing anymore, so some people didn't like it. But it is, in my opinion, is fantastic. But the MCU at the time had no fucking footprint in them being able to do Secret Wars. So I called it that there was no way they were going to fit whatever movies they slated during that time. I told the guys, and I told Brian at that time, and I was like, there's no way they get this done in 6 years. Like, they haven't introduced like 80% of the characters that are the main players in Secret Wars. Mark, I mean, comment section says, I can't even wait for Secret Wars, because I mean, you yourself, Mark, you probably know that Secret Wars is a hell of a story. Well, all of them, all the ones that they did, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they had like 3 of them. They had Secret Wars 1, which was done in like the 70s, Secret Wars 2, that was done in like the 90s. And then they did Secret Wars that just happened in like 2017, which is in the comics. The first one that they had introduced like the Black Spider-Man Venom costume, which wasn't even related to Venom. It was just they got on Battle World, which was the planet that the Beyonder chose to test the villains pitted against the heroes, and whoever came out on top was going to get anything their heart desired. He wiped out the entire universe, kind of like solidified it to just these 3 people, or not 3 people, but 3 groups, which 3 groups meaning all the superheroes, all the supervillains, and then fucking Galactus, because Galactus is kind of like this forever existence in the universe. It has to be there to be successful. When he gets pitted in the Battle World in that first section in the 70s, Galactus is all, wow, you can't hold me because I'm Galactus, you know, fucking, I'm going to get out of here. And he jumps at the Beyonder. The Beyonder fucking knocks him out, just like lays his ass out. And that's when Dr. Doom was like, yo, I need that guy's powers. Yeah, I did check out the Aquaman trailer. I'm kind of in the same boat. We're gonna be talking about it today. We'll probably watch it all together and stuff. I'll put it on the podcast later when Brian and them get here. I want to make sure they check it out too. But I'm in the same boat, man. I'm in the same boat. Aquaman part 1 didn't get my attention. So I understand. Brian always tells me like, well, it doesn't matter if it didn't get your attention. Chris loves the trailer. No, not at all. Not at all. Brian told me, well, that movie's made like $1 billion, man. So of course they're gonna make a part 2. But I'm gonna talk about it a lot during the show later on when Brian gets here. So I'll save that for a little bit later. But you guys will probably get a good laugh, because I have zero faith in that movie. Zero faith in that movie. But yeah, going back. Okay, so the reason why I don't want to get off the subject too crazy is because we're not going to talk about this when the guys show up, because I mean, they'll think I'm crazy or something. But I think it's nuts, man. I really think it's nuts that the Marvels movie. Go for it, brother. Good. Thank you for jumping in, Mark. Appreciate you. Good luck. Do good. Break legs, man. Break lots of legs. The reason why I don't want to get off subject too far is because the Marvels movie took a page right out of the Marvels comics and took someone else's power and gave it to this weird accuser character that's supposed to be coming in, which is the female villain. And she's doing the same thing as Galactus. And then at the end, they're supposed to bring in Galactus. Like, if you already have a character that's stealing resources from planet, leaving them there, and then the planets die or whatever, that's very much in tune with the road to ending, or what is it? Let me see, the road to end, which is the one right before Secret Wars. I can't remember what the fucking title is. There's so many fucking titles of these books. But right before it gets to Secret Wars, all the comic books are getting like led up to the ending and Battle World and all the big, the big lead up. In that story, you have a bunch of stuff about like the Ivory Kings, the Black Priests. You have all these really like newly introduced characters that are all pieces to the overarching story for Secret Wars, which all get answered later on in the series. You end up fighting the Black Priests, were Doctor Stranges, who had like a council of Doctor Stranges that were coming together. You had the Ivory Kings, which was the Beyonders, and the reason why is the Beyonders are usually either silver, or you have the Beyonder amalgamation that was the infant that was in most of the comic books that we loved growing up, which was this dude wearing like a white, you know, beat it Michael Jackson outfit, like a, just with cool curly, greased out hair and stuff like that. Very greaser style. And he wore, that's the reason why they call them the Ivory Kings, is because they are either wearing white clothing or silver clothing. And then you have the in-betweeners, which were these guys that look like insects, that went between worlds to kind of like scavenge between the multiverses that were being destroyed. So you have all of these moving pieces that are going to get filled in the Marvel universe for this series. And like I've said before, there is a pretty interesting story where Namor ends up killing a billion people on another planet because none of the people in the Illuminati from our planet want to destroy the other planet that's in the incursion with ours that's going to hit it. And he's the only one that kind of comes up and says, no, it's cool. Like, if you guys can't do it, someone has to for the greater good. And he blows it up, and everyone feels, extremely guilty for it. But a lot of people hate Namor for it because he had no remorse. He had no remorse. But Namor is this character in the Marvel universe. Now Namor in the MCU, a lot of people don't even know him as Namor anymore. They have to do it with an accent or some fucking weird thing. A lot of people don't know that he does it for his kingdom. Like, no matter what, straight up, he's like, no matter what, I'm going to protect Atlantis. So if there's an incursion coming and it's going to destroy the world and Atlantis is on that world, you can guarantee that, Namor is going to be there being like, nah, I ain't gonna let that shit slide. After that, Namor becomes like public enemy number one. He leaves the group and ends up joining, what does he join? He joins Thanos's Black Order. And then they go around, he approaches them and tells them about the incursions and all that stuff. And Thanos, being Thanos and the whole, 50% of the universe and all that other shit, he's pretty much just like, all right, cool. Like, we can just go on just a vacation and just destroy all these planets that we show up to. He's like, I was going to kill a bunch of people anyways, might as well just add them to the list if there's a cool purpose and I can get away with it. So he joins the Black Order with all the rest of the guys and this female character known as Black Swan, which is a very loyalist to Rabum Allah, which is Doom in Secret Wars, which is God Doom. They call him God Doom. So she's like a super cultist loyalist to Doom. So she's out there just trying to prevent the incursions and save as humankind or whatever universes she can. It all ends up being pitted against the Marvel universe, which is the 616, which is casually where most of the stories that most people that know comic books or kind of gloss over comic books just to kind of know them for fun. And then the other incursion planet is the Ultimates universe, which is very much I guess the idea on where they built the MCU, the majority MCU, is kind of like more themed around that universe. It's more grounded. It's more like, what would our planet be like if we had Avengers and Marvel people in it, and how would we react to it? Very, very grounded. But I kind of feel like it's going to be different in the film. It's going to be like Kevin Feige, of course, being Kevin Feige himself, claiming that our universe, the MCU, is the one that we've visually watched in the films, is the Marvel 616 universe. I feel like he's saying that universe is the main continuity, and the comic books now kind of like branch off of it from there. And they're going to be going against the universe that's the most comic book accurate, which is the Fox universe. You know, all the old school costumes, as cool as they tried to get, all the people with all the Willy powers and the mutants and all that stuff. They'll be kind of making a jump into the MCU after Deadpool, because Deadpool's gonna have. We're gonna talk about that later. Like Deadpool's gonna have like a tremendous cameo list. That's super crazy, super crazy. Um. Oh, in Secret Wars, there is this ship called the what's it called, the Life Raft, and there's two of them. One of the Life Rafts from the Marvel universe, the Ultimate Universe, has the Fantastic Four. What's up? What's up, Alex? Doing solo for right now. We have Brian coming in a little bit. He's coming back from work, and Triggs is out tonight. So right now, just doing an intro, just talking, just doing being casual, talking about the Marvels movie that's going to be coming out. Brie Larson, Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, and Monica Rambeau, Spectrum, or the original Miss Marvel. There was some stuff that I kind of like heard rumor wise that I'm trying to like process and understand what they're going to be doing, because Battle World and all the Marvel universe got pushed back to like 2026. So again, here we are having to have Marvel do like another 10-year setup for a big phase and a big event. Marvel made a bunch of mistakes during phase 4. Phase 5 has been somewhat okay, I guess, but we're going to see how Loki goes. Loki should kind of like bring it back to fruition a little bit. They're going to take a lot of time with that one. But yeah, the Marvel movies is introducing a villain who is practically on the same mission as Galactus, going around taking out planets by stealing their resources for their own gain. And the problem is with that is we also know that the Fantastic Four is going to be coming, and Galactus in the comic books in both Secret Wars plays a huge part for scaling how strong each character has become, or whatever, being that in the original Secret Wars, Galactus is a part of the groups when they're fighting on Battleworld, which is the supervillains and superheroes. Galactus shows up. He is insulted, I guess, by when the Beyonder tells him like they're pitting him against each other and whoever wins gets whatever they want. He's like, well, I'm Galactus. I'm too good for that. And he tries to attack the Beyonder, and the Beyonder knocks him out. And that's when the superheroes and the supervillains understand that the Beyonder is kind of like the boss. He's hyper OP. And the only other person that sees that in a different way is Doctor Doom, who's like, yo, I need that motherfucker's powers, which he ends up getting later on, and then he ends up getting screwed over again. And then in Secret Wars, the new one, he ends up stealing the Beyonder's powers completely, all based on that whole situation that happened back in the 70s. But it's crazy because in that comic book, the new one, the 2017 or 2015, he literally brings Galactus back, and it's Franklin Richards like butler. It's super weird. For everybody knows Franklin Richards, which is Reed Richards' son from the Fantastic Four, and he is, or was, I'm not gonna say is because they already fucked him up in the comic book. He is like super OP, reality bender, probably one of the most one punch kind of characters in the Marvel universe. Alex, you say it'd be nice to see Captain America running up to Galactus and punching him in the face. Yeah, that'd be kind of funny. But no. Even with that, like, I don't know if you remember that the Beyonder back in like the 70s and the 80s looked like he belonged in like a Michael Jackson Beat It video. He always wore like a crazy, like, let me see if I can find a picture of him. He wore like this like super silly, like a Jerry curl, like just everything. The Beyonder. Oh, I put the Beyonder Marvel. Yeah, I'll look at this dude. Like, I hope you guys can see it. Let me show ahead. Like, look at this dude. Like, like he's like just greased up. This is kind of like the way. So this guy pops off in Battle World back in the day. Well, Secret Wars, right? He shows up, and I think he's like a bright light or like a star at the time. he's not really like fully fruitioned or whatever, like a Bee Gees dancer. Yeah, like he's just like, I don't know, he's just weird. He's got his fist all balled up, like he's just looking like he's like, man, I'll punch you in the face, whatever. He's flying up in the air, and he kind of tells everybody the rules of the Beyond or whatever, or Battle World at the time when they were doing the Hasbro version, and yeah, he just tells everybody, you guys are gonna fight it out, and whoever wins, you get whatever you want. I'm gonna grant you like your cool wish or whatever. Galactus looked at this and was like, yo, bro, you're not even wearing the right kind of shoes. Like, I'm gonna kick your ass or whatever. And he flies up to him, and yeah, this guy like kind of like just one shots him, knocks him out, and all the other superheroes are kind of like, well, damn, this guy's the real deal. Like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. But of course, later on, they ended up coming up with like this silly like, dude, like I don't even understand this design. Like, what do those shoulder pads do? Like, this guy walks into the club and slaps your girlfriend's butt. What are you gonna do? Alex says, "Yeah, I tell people that the Beyonder doesn't look like he's OP, but he can screw the top off of people." Yeah, man, it's nuts. It really, really is. Cosmic's Beyonder said that the Hulk is stronger than Superman. I mean, with the Hulk and Superman story, like there have been iterations that they've met, and Superman's knocked him out, like just straight up played him out. And that's the thing, you got to kind of like with guys like that, the power level scheme, like it all determines what the writer wants to do. But I would guess it's kind of like the whole argument with you and Brian and Goku, which it's like if you have a Superman that comes in, and Goku comes in and he's like, oh man, I want to fight you or whatever. Superman's going to be like, oh, well, I'll fight you because it's going to be fun. And he's not going to give it his all. He only gives it his all when he loses control. Like all the other Kryptonians, like when they lose control and become emotional is when they become their strongest. But you have to like raise them to that. Same thing with the Hulk. You got to raise them to that. But I wonder if the strategic mind of Superman would be better because he had to deal with, what's his face? Fucking Doomsday, right? Doomsday is just like the Hulk in a way. But the thing about the Doomsday is when you defeat him, he's like one of those Goku guys, a Super Saiyan. He ends up becoming a little bit stronger and he adapts to the thing that tried to kill him or the thing that tried to hurt him or beat him. He ends up becoming evolved past that and he can now beat that. So what Superman would probably do is he'd have to be like, oh, I'm going to have to hit this guy early, really, really hard. So that way I could just knock him out and he's just not prepared for it. They've had situations with Superman-like characters, Adam Brashear being one of them, Blue Marvel, one of my favorite characters in the Marvel Universe, him and Hyperion. But Hyperion is kind of like one of those dudes that has his ups and downs against the Hulk. Sometimes he wins, sometimes he loses. When he's a villain in Squadron Supreme, he always gets bested by the Hulk. But except for this last story that happened a while back, he like demolecularized the Hulk and like burned him all the way down to like a complete atom and he couldn't come back from it. Blue Marvel kind of, when he fought the Hulk, he treated it like the way I told you in the Ultimates universe. He treated it directly like the way a smart Superman would be, which is he just went up to Bruce Banner as the Hulk and just uppercutted the shit out of him, knocked him the fuck out. Watch Hulk, Blue Marvel. You'll see a picture of it real fast. Yeah, there it is. He just like, yeah, he just knocked him the fuck out. Like he was just like, well, I ain't gonna play this game or whatever. And yeah, he just doused him one time and yeah, put his ass to sleep. That was in, I want to say, was it the Illuminati comic or something like that? I want to say it was something like that. Yeah, he diced him real fast, dude. This character, I would really like to see in the MCU. I think he would be a great character to bring into the Marvels comic. I think he's perfect, but the only problem with him is he suffers from the same problem as you would the Sentry and what's that guy's name? The Sarge guy. Not Ulysses. What was the dude's name from Captain Falcon, the Black Captain America guy? I forgot his name, but they suffer from the same thing, which is like they were heroes back in the day. They found out that they were people of color and the government was like, hey, you know what? Like, we appreciate you for what you've done, but we cannot. And it was like the 1960s or 70s. He saves the president from some type of explosion or a meteor or some corny stuff. And when he stops it, his uniform is cut open, and they see that his skin is black, like he's a black person. And it was during the like the civil rights movement. So like since the government, well, since the Americas was so like under pressure with people still in segregation and all this other stuff, like they realized that the world needs a person like that because he's so hyper strong, but they couldn't have like a black superhero at that time. So they were like, yo, like we'll give you whatever you want money wise, and we'll take care of your family and all that stuff. But like, you gotta go. Like you gotta go. Yeah, so he ended up saying, all right, I'm a person that represents my country and I love my country, and I represent for the good of mankind and whatnot. And yeah, he took the money and bounced out. And then later on, his supervillain comes back and just decimated the Avengers, and they didn't know what to do. So they needed to look for someone who had worked with him or against him. And they found Adam Brashear. I think at the time Reed Richards knew him. And he comes back and he's like, yeah, I can help you. I can beat that dude or whatever. And he wallops that guy. And the Avengers are like, yo, what happened? Like, where were you during Thanos and where were you during all this stuff? And he's like, oh, well, the government paid me to just, back off because they couldn't have it. And I was like, dude, that's such a waste of a good character. Such a waste of a good character. But to bring him out in the MCU would be really cool, but they would just have to be nonchalant where like he had just always been there and he always had the power and yeah, he can kind of like backstory and give a good like a flashback or whatnot, wiping my butt with that. Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, because he knew too. This guy's like, I want to say he's either as smart or smarter than Reed Richards. But this is the guy that I thought that Monica Rambeau meant when she was like, oh, I got a friend that gave her the truck in the WandaVision show. Because she got a really badass vehicle that could travel between the wall that Wanda created, that gap in the wall that people couldn't pass. They created like a really cool car for it. And I literally, man, dude, like I was so sad when they didn't introduce him. But maybe in the Marvels we'll get some type of a knockback to him, bring him in. It'd be really, really cool. So not too bad. Yeah, what do we got? Oh man, here we go, boys and girls. We got our boy Brian. Good to have you, man.
Boys and girls and everything
in between.
Else. Let's go. I'm sorry. I'm here. Listen, it's been a crazy fucking day, but I'm here. I'm glad that I'm here with my boy Chris.
Yeah, man. I'm super happy.
What did I miss?
Okay, so I've just been doing an intro. I was just talking to everybody, just kind of like casual, because we got some stuff that we want to talk about. I have some things that I wanted to bring up in conversation, but what I was talking about was kind of, I mean, none of us are really like super interested in the Marvels movie. We know it's coming out. Well, I mean, casual, like I am. Are you gonna like? Are you gonna buy the ticket early, kind of stuff, and you're gonna like? Or are you gonna?
I don't know if I'm gonna buy the ticket early, but I'll be there. I'm gonna watch it in theaters. Yeah.
See, I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm gonna go watch it because I like comic book movies. Yeah. I'm excited for this stuff. I always like watching it, good or bad. I'm gonna go check it out. If it's bad, then fuck me. But I'm still gonna go out there and watch them. Same thing with like Blue Beetle. Like, eventually, I'll get out to the theater and be able to watch it.
All right, Alex. Wait. Alex, knock it off, bro.
He beats Superman.
Knock it off.
That's a rough one. Well, dude, man, they're doing they're power leveling in that character up right now in the manga.
Listen, so I don't care. I don't care who and what anime you power up. I don't care. Superman is soups, bro. Like, I listen. I know you're trolling, and I love you for that, Alex. I love you for that. I can't wait to get on fucking Fortnite with you because I heard you're fucking great,
dude. I keep saying if you guys team up, dude, like you guys are gonna.
It's over, bro. We're dominating. We're dominating, bro. We're dominating.
Yeah, you guys are squadding, bro. I guarantee it. 100%, you guys are squadding.
But yeah, soups is soups, bro. Stop playing.
Well, I'm a big fan of soups, and that's why I was just talking about Blue Marvel, man. And the reason why is because there's a lot of stuff coming out about the Marvels movie that's coming out. Like, a lot of people are talking about the after credit scene. Monica Rambeau being in another multiverse.
Okay,
there's another one where like Galactus is apparently going to get introduced.
So before we move on, where are you with Monica Rambeau? Like, how do you feel about that character and how they've done so far with?
I mean, I'm excited to see her. I think there's a lot of good turmoil in her character, and she does have a good story with like Brie Larson, like not being there when her mother passed away and having that regret and having that remorse. I think that's good. Um, Brie Larson's character, I kind of saw in the trailer that I'm guessing there's some kind of like weird memory loss, and that's why she's very dry as a character, non-caring and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it almost like every time Monica Rambeau like approached her in several of these shows recently, it's kind of like she never cared. You know what I mean? Like she wasn't like she didn't feel the death of the mother.
Okay.
Like there was something about it. So if they do kind of come back to that and they break it up and show the two characters come to some type of agreement or understanding, or she gets her memories and they both remorse the character and there's an understanding, I think it's cool. It's character development. That's kind of what those characters both need. I think Monica Rambeau's character has been kind of like a spoon fed character into like this like look at how awesome she is, because she really hasn't done much except for defactoring the bullets in that situation with WandaVision with the kids. It's the only time we've really been able to see her shine. Okay. But her as an actress has done some amazing shit. I like her as an actress. Okay. I think she's funny. She has her moments when she's like a smart ass.
So I guess my question is, has she done enough in those moments to where you are looking forward to her moving forward?
If I didn't read comic books, not enough.
Okay.
Because I just like I look at her and I'm like, well, someone with powers or whatever, like it's gonna be one of those supporting characters in all the stories. But I know in the comic book she's huge. Like, you know, she's a major player in most stories.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm excited for that. Same thing with Kamala Khan. Like I know that she has a lot of like major points in the Marvel universe, and she's supposed to be like this de facto future leader of the Avengers, like when everybody's like too old and passes away kind of stuff, like in the kind of like the Apocalypse Now versions of like every story that's like everybody dies and there's only like a pocket of people left.
Okay.
Kamala Khan is always one of like the leading characters, and she's most of the time carrying Captain America's shield kind of thing, so she's like the mouthpiece of the superhero community of those stories. So like I know that from some of the comic book series, but then again, we haven't seen her character rise that much. So I mean, there's parts of me that is excited. There's part of me that not. The Galactus thing I'm kind of interested in, and this goes back to them starting to redo the slate of the MCU and tell us like, nah, man, we lied. There's like 8 other stories we're going to be bringing in, and it's like, well, you told us it wasn't going to take 10 years. You know what I mean? Like we look back at Marvel at D23 right after Endgame, and Kevin Feige's like, we're going to bring you another phase. You know, Secret Wars is our mission, and we want to do it not in 10 years, but in 6 or whatever. And here we are literally like 10 years later I mean, the writer's strike and all that shit did put a bad damper in the situation. But even with that, they were going to have to do pushbacks because they don't have, we talked about this a lot. And you even brought in a bunch of good points where they just don't have the chess pieces for a story of that grand. They don't have the major players in the stories, you know.
No. I said, just to clarify, I said that because you put them on a time frame. You said that they needed to do this. You needed them to have this Secret Wars story done as quickly as possible, and I vehemently disagree with that. I think.
Oh no, I knew they weren't going to get it. I knew they weren't going to get it fast. There's no way.
But you thought and I remember you thought that they were going to get it done within the next like 6-7 years, and I'm like, there's just no way. Like there's no way. They need to take their time. Like that's what they need to do. I actually think that they should take even more time now, being that there's a strike and that there's no one developing anything. I don't want them to come back from this and start rushing it, right?
Yeah, rushing
that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, and it got pushed back. I believe Secret Wars and all this shit got pushed back to 2026.
Yeah,
which I mean that's okay for.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know if it's just them doing it because they believe the writer's strike is going to end in a year. And they're like, oh, dude, if it ends in a year, like we'll still get some, you know, some workers that are non-union that can let us work, and we'll get permission.
Yo, what are they gonna do about Jonathan Majors, bro?
Well, they're like 5 hours ago they had some updates
about
what happened was they got an extension on the case, and they already put the legal limitations on how far they could stretch this.
Okay.
So if they do not produce any evidence, or the person coming out saying that all this happened doesn't come through, case gets thrown out. He's good. So, and of course, Jonathan Major's legal team already, um, they went in again and was like, "Yo, we want to get this case kicked out already. Just push that forward." But they're like,
I have
"No, no, no."
I have so many fucking questions. My first question is, okay, so let's say that happens, right? Let's say that
Yeah,
happens. It gets thrown out because they can't find. Because apparently we can't. They can't find
yeah. They can't
the.
find the chick,
They
right?
can't find the chick, right?
Yeah, that's
So
what
let's
happened.
say this gets thrown out.
Yeah,
Does this absolve him of all wrongdoings? Does he get back to work as usual?
I don't think it absolves him because a lot of people are gonna have questions. You
Okay.
know what I mean? You'll have your like conspiracy people that are all like, "Nah, man, they paid that chick to bounce," or you're gonna have a lot of people that are gonna make a bunch of stories about it.
I
You know what I mean?
think that's
Like
a
even right
great
now, just digging
investment.
that shit up, you're like, I don't know, man, that
I
sounds
think
good.
that's a
Like,
great investment. I think it's a great investment. And
um,
listen. I don't know if you touched on it already, but
no,
that video of him breaking up that fight, I don't know if that's real or not. I'm
I heard it was
leaning.
fake. I heard it was all fake.
I'm leaning on the side of it being real
Okay.
because uh, if you paid for that, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Like
there's some sketchy
if you
shit.
paid for that, if you paid for that and it to look so obviously look like a stage thing, I'm only geared to think that this was real. That has to
So
be real. That
So
has to
what's
be
crazy
real.
is I just saw like a snippet, like not even a snippet. I saw like the front thumbnail of a video kind of like telling me about it. Like Jonathan Major does hoax to make himself look good. And now that you're mentioning it, I kind of realized like, oh, okay, this is what that's about. But like in context, what is in the video?
The what's in the video was a couple of kids got into a fight, and some surrounding kids were videotaping it, or they were recording it on their phones. And it just so happens that while they were videotape or while they were recording it, Jonathan Majors broke up the fight.
Oh shit.
Now, again, I I'm leaning towards it being real. I don't think it's
Oh
fake.
shit.
I don't think it's fake.
Yeah, they say.
And I have to think that it's real because if you're telling me that you had some money behind that to kind of like shield you from
Save face or
whatever, yeah,
something.
like
Yeah.
then that's
That's dicey,
your
man.
your PR team needs to be fired because that just looks
Can
weird
he
at
be
that
fired?
point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
that
kind of
looks really
weird.
weird.
Yeah.
So I have to believe that was real. I have to.
David,
Dave,
what's
what's
up, man?
good, bro?
Welcome to the
What's good? What's
show.
good? What's
Hey, we
good?
had
What's good?
Mark on the show earlier. He stopped in the comment section. He is at the South Texas International Film Festival. He's interviewing all the people doing this podcast live there. So shout outs to Mark and the guys from Chewinu, man, doing work,
Hell
doing
yeah.
that good work, doing the podcasting God's work. So good stuff. And
I
David from
miss
the
my man
collectors
Mark,
in the
bro.
comment section, my boy,
Damn.
my boy. Um, okay, so the reason why I had brought up the Marvels movie and all of that stuff is because um the fact that I heard that there was going to be like a maybe like an after credits mid credits scene where apparently Galactus is going to get introduced, which that's never a bad thing. I think everybody's kind of like since the 2000 movie, we've kind of wanted them to kind of save the factor of they termed him being a big smoke cloud in space and bring the Galactus that we truly love in the comics, right? And I think Marvel will be the people, like the MCU will be the people that'll be like, yo, we can have a fucking 900-mile high guy with a dumbass hat eating planets. Like, I don't mind putting that guy on TV or whatever. Like, he's cool. He's good. And we'll have a silver guy naked with him on the surfboard. You know what I mean? Like, it's good. It's good. It's going to work on TV. It's going to work on video. People
Yeah.
love it.
Mhm.
I'm excited for that. What I'm not excited for is the villain from the Marvels movie. Her whole shtick in the movie is apparently opening up black holes in other planets and stealing their resources and destroying the planet by taking like their natural stuff. And then them introducing Galactus at the end, whose whole existence is to show up on planets, steal their resources, and leave the planets for dead. Like, it's kind of weird in the sense of like, why would you take Galactus's power, like his whole shtick, give it to another character that you kind of like custom made for this film, and then give them his powers and then try to introduce him at the end to be like, this is the same threat.
I don't know that to be true. I don't know for a fact that that's what's going on, and I just want to put something in perspective for you,
Sure.
sir.
I
Uh,
need this. Yeah, I need this.
besides Thanos, the motives of the majority of the villains in the Marvel movie so far have been stupid.
Yeah,
They've all been
true that.
stupid. All of
Yeah,
them.
yeah. They're kind of the only one that's been interesting is Thanos, but
Thanos.
even with
That's
that,
it.
it's like there could have been another way. Like it didn't have to be that way, I guess.
Like, other than Thanos, they've all been one dimensional. So for you to pick this one particular villain to be one dimensional and not get it, I don't. You'd have to say that about everyone.
No, like it's not even in the fact that I'm hating on it or anything like that. I just don't know why.
Sounds like you are.
No, because the other stuff is interesting, like the band having the other Kamala Khan
That's
band.
where the
That's
story
cool.
is. Like, I don't even care what else. Like, that's what the story is going to be about. Is it going to be
Yeah,
about the Bengal and the connection between all four of them actually, and what the connection is.
yeah.
This is news to me. I didn't know that they were going to introduce uh
Galactus.
Galactus in this movie,
If I, it's still kind
and
of rumored.
and yet it's only rumors, so I don't know if
Yeah,
that's to be a
true.
fact. But from what I'm hearing, I'm interested in this movie. I've been interested in this movie. I listen. I get it. I'm in the minority, dude. Like, I'm not. You know, disillusioned to where, I think that there's going to be a lot of people to show up for this movie. This movie could probably tank, but I'm going to see it because I'm a fan of the first Captain
The first
Marvel.
movie.
I'm a fan of Monica Rambeau, and I'm also a fan of Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
So, like, it all aligns for me. So I'm gonna see
yeah, it
it.
all aligns for you. I mean,
It
it's
all aligns for
understandable. I'm
me.
not. I'm not. like I said, I'm not trying to hate on this idea, but I just don't want it to. I don't want it to be a Planet Hulk, World War Hulk moment.
What
You
does
know what I
that
mean?
mean?
Like okay, so Thor Ragnarok 2 or Thor Ragnarok was a really great film. And the reason why is because the majority of the story was taken from the Planet Hulk storyline. It was a
Okay,
really great masterpiece story and it worked very well for the Thor character. But now they want to go back and make a World War Hulk film without the backbone of what made World War Hulk
but that
a
was after the
masterpiece.
movie came out, right? That's after the movie came out. You saw it, you digested it, you realized what it was for. You realized what it was about. You realized where it came from. I don't think that's fair for you to judge this movie before it even comes out, and we
No,
know
no, no.
exactly we know exactly
No,
what it
I get
is
that part. I'm
before
not
you
trying
start.
to.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah. But the thing is I just don't because this is the problem that I've been saying that Marvel's been suffering from a while,
What's
which
that?
is they bring in characters, they modify their powers to alkalite to whatever kind of story that director or writer wants to portray by borrowing from different parts. And then when they do get the opportunity to get to that actual storyline, they have already ran out of that those story moments and they're like, fuck, what do we do now? Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like right now, they haven't introduced the X-Men. They haven't
Mhm.
introduced the Fantastic Four. They haven't introduced Doctor Doom. uh, now they want to do Secret Wars, and we've all come to terms that we're like, damn, dude, like, but they use the Namor explosion of the planet by using Doctor Strange as the person that kind of started the incursions and started this bad timing situation. The other thing that I was thinking is maybe that they're using this like the resource opportunity for this character. And if they have her instead of going to different planets and taking resources, if she somehow can get through the multiverse and take it, then she would be doing what the in-betweeners do in Time Runs Out. Remember, they would go during the incursions and kind of take like scavenge after the planets had been incursed or while they're incursed. Do you remember that
So
that's what like the ex
I
Helo guy
get what
and
you're
stuff like that.
saying.
Remember
I get what you're saying, but again, you got to keep in context from what we've learned.
what we have in front of us?
What I have in front of me
Yeah,
is the only thing that I know of her. The only and again, I don't know where you get your information from, but from what I know is that she is trying to destroy all of their planets.
yeah,
She has this Bengal, and her whole mission is that she is trying to destroy their planets. I can't start getting other than that. I can't start deviating from what I think is going on. That's what's going on. She like that's the character. She
Yeah,
is
she's
going to
a
be involved in destroying everyone's planet that is involved in this movie, and that's it. It's not that deep.
I hope
That's what
not.
it is.
You're like, I hope it's not that deep, goddamn.
Like that's what it is. Like
No, but
that's
like
what she's doing.
from what I know is I know she's an accuser. She's part
Yeah.
of that part of the core. Like she goes around and they lay justice and do their thing from the Kree Armada. So they're kind of like a culture that believes themselves to be above everybody else.
Yeah.
And I think that they are prepping for this object of, that they know as the incursion or whatever it happened. I think a lot of people outside of the Earth itself that's in space, they kind of know about all this stuff already a little bit. So they're kind of like prepping and getting ready. But yeah, that's from what I heard. And then when I heard the Galactus thing, I was kind of like, well, I hope a lot of people don't like end up having it to where they're like, well, that chick was doing it in the last movie anyways. Like why bring in a Galactus character when you already have another character that's already like out there?
Because it's fucking
Because
Galactus.
it's Galactus, you know what I mean? I just don't want it to dampen the effect of bringing Galactus and having him do his like, you know, it's already, if they end up doing it like the comic book.
You think this chick has the fucking effect of
The gall.
bring get the fuck out of here. Chris, knock it off.
Okay, let me
Knock
ask
it
you
off,
something.
Chris. Knock it off.
Let me ask you something. When and if they bring Galactus, how would you want him to do the whole like conquering of the planet? Would you want him to do like the walking around and just like destroying it, and then I don't know, like because I remember in the comic books,
he walking around. What kind of walking around is he does? He does
because there's two versions of him in the comic books. One is like he just stands and he absorbs the planet,
yeah,
and then the other second is like he has like a motorcycle seat that he fucking sits on, and like a bunch of like tubes come out and they just start like sucking up the planet.
Yeah, I mean, before we even get to Galactus, I think it would be wise for them to introduce his heralds. I think his heralds need to be introduced. His heralds need to be introduced first. Yeah. And then once we get that, now it's like, okay, oh shit, like a herald of Galactus.
Yeah, that's dicey. Yeah.
And then after that, then it's like,
what was that other herald's name?
Fuck.
There was one of them called Drax, or not Drax, but
there's multiple heralds of Galactus.
But the one before the Silver Surfer was this dude with a big axe. Terrax the Tamer.
Yeah.
So and that guy comes out Time Runs Out, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, he's a part of it. So maybe that would be really cool if we got like, because we're so used to seeing the Silver Surfer, but maybe we get like Terrax and then the Silver Surfer comes in and he's more of a herald, and then Galactus like switches him out, and then that guy, he ends up joining the Black Order. So that would be kind of like, you know, there's just cool opportunities for them to bring in like a list of cool characters to make it more.
I get that, and if you want to be like comic book accurate, you can bring him in. But let's say that you were in charge of this, right? And you want to make the biggest splash you possibly could. What herald are you bringing in as your first herald?
Silver Surfer.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Silver.
Bro,
yeah,
like,
straight up the Silver Surfer.
Like that's the one we're looking for. Like that's the one, dude. Like,
but you do. But now the thing is like you do have to have a more interesting story than the Fantastic Four story, because that Silver Surfer story was pretty good. Like, do you remember the chase with
I
the
remember.
That was really good. Even the whole like him meeting up with Dr. Doom and getting splashed and shit. Like,
I wasn't mad at that movie, by the way.
No, man, that was a fantastic. The only thing they did wrong was Galactus was a cloud. Even at the end when he fucking goes out and challenges him and does like the fucking arms open and then like trickles into the like that looked like Alex Ross art. Like it was gorgeous. Like the reflection of the fire.
If the MCU did a modified version of that, and honestly, the VFX of Silver Surfer was fucking great in that movie. By the way,
oh man, it was so good.
Like if they just kept that the way that it was, the way that it is, and give me a modified version of that story to where it actually fucking makes sense, and Galactus was in a fucking cloud.
Yeah.
You have a major movie on your hands at that point, bro.
You know what I really respected about that movie is that when he's on his board, like there's a lot of CG on his body because of the reflection of the metal. And then when they captured him and he didn't have his board anymore, he was like just a dude in a suit.
Yeah.
Like, and makeup. Like they didn't have to CG like a reflection on him, and it made fucking sense. Mm-hmm. It didn't look corny, it didn't look cheesy. You knew it was just a dude like in makeup and VFX, like no CGI. Like and it fucking worked. It worked so good without his
Oh
board.
yeah.
Like he had, it's just like a body change without his. It was so cool. Overall, that movie is just fucking fantastic. Dude. I'm a big fan of that movie. I thought that was like the best one. Just like a couple of minor things, but
The Galactus thing takes me out. That was so disrespectful. And at
yeah.
that point, I wasn't even like a hardcore like sweat, and I was like, this is some bullshit.
And you know what? I am not even fucking. I wouldn't even be mad if God Doom in the MCU was that guy that played Doom, because he was a fucking good Doom.
The Nip Tuck guy. Right?
Yeah, the Nip Tuck guy. He was really good. He wasn't like, he was just a hater of Reed Richards because he got the pretty girl, and other than that, he was just a playboy.
Yeah.
Like but he exonerated Dr. Doom in those scenes, like when he's talking to the Silver Surfer and he's like just outthinking him and how he can get his powers and get a little taste. And even when he got the board, he just wanted it because he wanted it. He didn't even have a fucking reason. At the end, he gets knocked off and he's like, whatever, take that bitch. I'm done with it anyways, or whatever. Like he's just like, he's just a menace. Like that was like a good Dr. Doom. Good Doctor. I would love to see it like Secret Wars. You see all the MCU cats do the life raft. You see everybody coming in and all of a sudden they get captured and brought into the thing. And then all of a sudden they're like now introducing, and then God Doom, and you see him stand up in his white outfit and he takes his fucking mask off. And it's that fucking dude from that movie. Mm-hmm. I would be like, I'd throw my phone on the ground. I'd be like, yo, I am so about this. I am so about that. That'd be cool. But whoever they choose, even better. I think I just saw rumored last week. Tell me if you heard this. Josh Hartnett.
For Doom?
For Dr. Doom. Josh Hartnett.
Every time I see him, in which movie? In Fantastic Four?
Secret War. Yeah, he'll be the Doom of this Marvel universe. Rumored.
I guess.
I guess he's not a young cat anymore. Every time I see him, I always
think of everyone that I could have thought of him, he's literally like at the bottom of
the list
of who I would think would play with Dr. Doom. But he works, I guess.
By chance, like off the top of your head, who would be like one of your top choices?
I would keep the guy from the Nip Tuck. Like that. Yeah. That he did a fantastic job. I think they need to modify his ambition. Because his ambition was more power hungry. I think Doom is a little bit more complex than that. I think,
but if you were to say like, if he would have been the Doom that figured out the incursions was happening, and he's doing that whole backup story to like him going around killing
but again, it's not about that guy, but it's not. But like his motivation is not power though. Like that's the problem. It's like Doom is that's the reason why they need to nail this. I don't actually give a fuck more about what they do about the Fantastic Four with
but they gotta get Doom right.
But they gotta get Doom right, dude.
Yeah,
they have to get him right. Like he is such a complex character, and you need someone that has a wide range of like practical and evil and opportunistic, and like you need to have all of that. Like
it's really crazy because he's the only character in comic book history that I would consider an anti-villain. But he's not an anti-hero.
But like he's a villain though. Like when he wants to be a villain, dude, he's like the evilest of villains.
Evilest dudes, like, and he doesn't give a shit. Like he's just like, yo, you can't arrest me because I'm my own country. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. And he has an escape for everything, and he's in everybody's business. And
he's in everybody's business
for no reason. He's just there.
Yeah, and like, if he finds out that you're like a powerful being, his ambition for the next story arc is how to be more powerful than you.
Yeah, how to get you.
That is an entire arc. His entire fucking shit is.
But that's why. But what's even crazier is he escaped hell. Yeah, that's not even funny. Yeah, and he saved his mom from hell too, who had a deal with Mephisto. So that's even more wild.
Yeah. He's literally connected to every fucking person in the MCU.
But then you look at and you break it down, and that was the dude that fucking Reed Richards went to and was like, "Yo, I want you to be the godfather to my daughter, Valeria Richards." So he's the goddaughter of Valeria Richards.
Okay.
So he's even like, if you ever fail my goddaughter, you can know for sure that I'll come and do the job you couldn't. Like, and he still insults him like telling him, "Don't worry, man. Like if anything ever happens to you, I'll take care of your daughter." Like, but he's still like, "Nah, man, you're trash. I'll do better anyways." Like he's such a great asshole in the MCU. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. But yeah, that was the only thing that I had on my mind that I was doing for the intro. But I do have other stuff that we want to talk about. Little things, nothing too crazy at the very beginning. You haven't seen it, but I want to make this announcement to the people that are watching the show. One Piece has been renewed for a second season. The great Sensei Oda, which is the guy who's been writing the manga for years, since the beginning, created the story, came out and did like a whole cool little YouTube video and like, admitted that they did very well in the first season. They worked hard and they got renewed, and he's super excited for a new season. There's been a couple of rumors saying that people have said that they got renewed for like 6, but he's only claiming 1, which is more than enough, with the gratitude of knowing that it's a live action that was really over the top and people loved it. So I'm excited. And the character that Alex likes, which is this little Pikachu character known as Chopper, he'll be making his debut in this coming season. So I'm excited. I think it went great. I told you about it. I know you're probably not going to get to watch it anytime soon. You'll probably catch it when you're just chilling out one day. But if you ever get a chance, it's a really good episode. Really, really, really good season. Yeah, I just wanted to announce that, let people know. Did get a season 2. So if you're a fan, be prepared. It's going to be coming, and we'll be covering it when it comes out on the show. Next part of the show is getting a little bit closer to something that we can actually discuss, something that we can actually talk about. Brian,
sir,
did you check out trailer number 2 for Aquaman?
I did. What
did what
I liked it.
Did you really? Okay, yeah. Okay.
I liked it.
So tell me, how did you feel?
Listen, I can't speak for what the movie's going to be about. I thoroughly agree that I thoroughly believe that they just quit on this movie. But that trailer, it's a solid trailer, bro.
You liked it? You dug it? You liked the pace?
Trailer. Let me ask you a question. Did you were you a fan of the first Aquaman?
No.
Why?
I thought there was just too much. There was too much going on. Like
you're
all over the place.
You're discrediting a movie for having too much going on.
Yeah,
we watch fucking Marvel movies for a living, bro. What are you talking about?
I know. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It just there was a lot of moving parts of that film that I kind of feel like they could have stretched out. That they could have like made a little bit more like, hey, a little bit of tease, but we're gonna bring this up in another movie or a later future project or something. For them to explain the 7 worlds in a 1-2 hour film, there was. Like the desert scene looked like a set, like that didn't even look like at least a real place. The fight scene that they had in that one Greek kind of like area was cool at some parts, and then other parts it just looked like it looked like a studio set. It didn't even look sharp, like it didn't look real. Like the jumping out of the airplane looked silly. Like then they go into the trench, and I thought the trench was an awesome looking place. But like he just swam through it and it was like nothing. Like there was no, like, you could have literally had like a horror film, like a pirate horror film, all dedicated to the trench and him trying to figure out a way to be like, let me bring these people or these creatures back to the kingdom and make it a really interesting movie. But instead he just like hightailed it with Mara and just fucking blasted right past that bitch. Yeah. Which, I mean, from what the trailer looks like, it looks like this dude, the villain's going to kind of like get into some type of artifact that brings that he ends up controlling the fucking trench. That's what it looked like to me.
Let me ask you a question. That first movie that you just said that you just went
I know it was a big seller though.
You just went on a great length of what made you
what I didn't like about it.
How much do you think that made in the movie theaters? Don't look it up. How much do you think? How much?
I think it made a billion.
Billion? Do you know what?
I think it hit the billion.
No, it did. But how much specifically do you know? Are you familiar with how much it made specifically? Like,
not familiar at all.
So it's over $1 billion, like you said. That movie is a smash. It made more than any other DCU movie.
Oh right? Yeah, most definitely. I'm not gonna take it. I'm not gonna deny its success from the first film. But
That
then
you don't make $1 billion if one, you don't have a good story, if two, you don't have replay or
replayability.
replayability or
Yeah, yeah.
review ability, because you have
True that. True that.
in order for you to make $1 billion, you need people to come to see your movie more than once, right?
So I think
Multiple people went out to see this movie multiple times in the theaters.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
something that the Man
It
of
was like
Steel can.
they enjoyed it.
That's something the Man of Steel couldn't do. Justice League couldn't do. Wonder Woman could not do. Batman versus Superman could not do. Uh, bro, that movie slapped. I love the first fucking movie, and I'm anticipating the second one. The CGI, bro, I don't give a fuck
It's a
what you're talking
beautiful
about. I don't care
world.
what you're talking about. The CGI alone deserves us to go see this movie in the movie theaters. Alone, there has not been an underwater CGI movie better than that movie, than the
Yeah.
first
True.
original Aquaman. It's not even close. That takes skill. That takes talent, bro. Like, I get it. Everybody is just wants to dogpile on movies because it ain't for them or whatever. But like, you have to take certain things that are
You have to
not.
acknowledge. Yeah,
You
you
have
have
to
to acknowledge
acknowledge
the good
certain
part.
things, bro. Like, you have
Yeah,
to
you got to
acknowledge
acknowledge
it,
the
bro.
work.
Like, you have to acknowledge that shit. And like,
No,
that's
that's
the
and that's
thing
the
that
thing.
I
Like,
won't do. Like, I'm not gonna shit on a movie if you gave me a movie that is totally underwater with me knowing how much money that fucking costs, and for you to make $1 billion to cover that cost. Most of these movies that would take a chance on that are losing fucking money.
yeah.
The Little Mermaid, fully underwater, fully submerged movie, right? They're not making
Well,
that
you
fucking
even
money.
with that, what Avatar?
That's
Avatar
different.
was, yeah, Avatar was.
That's a totally different
Well, I mean,
anomaly.
I want to take this into perspective, right? I'm going to take this in a different path. The first movie, it wasn't bad. There's nothing about it that I thought was bad. There's, if you go back and probably watch us covering it, I probably said the world building was very beautiful. The underwater city was great. The color scheme was cool. Like, but the thing is that's the thing in the DC universe. You were dealing with movies that were very bland, very boring, very dark, very the same thing over and over again. Then you had your Suicide Squad, which was more into the ratio of the first movie, the Air one, which was more into the ratio of like the Batman movies that were coming out, kind of darkish, a little bit of here and there with like these kind of, rogue galleries or what. But the thing is there was such a clamor at the idea of DC doing a beautiful movie, like a whole enchanting story based on a character. Not only that, based on a character who's being played by probably one of the most desired actors of that time, Jason Momoa, because he was such a fucking commodity that everybody wanted to see him. They put him in a fucking Apple TV show as a samurai, dude, like around that time. Like they wanted this motherfucker everywhere. And I get it, fucking gorgeous build, good looking dude, like, put him as a superhero. Like it's exciting to see that stuff. And then even the fact of when they started bringing him into the Justice League, people were super excited for that one scene.
Chris, Aquaman. Just put that in perspective. Aquaman.
Well, that's why I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
How in relative to Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Suicide Squad,
How the fuck does
Justice
that
League,
character, the guy who
how
talks to
does
fish,
how does
outbeat all of them?
Beat all of them. He is the
Because it's
Jason
not the
Momoa.
character. Because it's not the character that's doing
it. You think Jason Momoa is the reason why this is $1 billion movie?
I think he's a part of it. I think he's a part of it.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you think right now that Jason Momoa can go out and make another $1 billion? So what are you talking about?
So he's not
talking about. What are you talking about?
But during that time in his career, he was up there. During that time in his career, he was very popular. He was extremely popular at that time.
What changed?
Of course, this was before like all the crazy other shit that he picked up after. Like you could see the decline in his career going past these type of films. Okay. But like right after Justice League, like it was like a short decline. Then he's back in the Fast and the Furious movies.
Yeah.
Like he's not doing good. And it's okay, because all it takes is one other badass film to cast him in the right thing. Fucking maybe even this movie will pick him right up to being back up there.
Yeah.
But there was something about during the, because I'm going to tell you right now that the idea of Aquaman does not sell a fucking $1 billion movie. That doesn't sell more than a Superman. That doesn't sell more than a Batman. Fuck, it doesn't even sell more than a Wonder Woman, in my opinion, because Aquaman only talked to fish in the comics. So there's no reason to be like, well, I'm gonna buy a ticket for that fucking shit. And not only that, like they didn't keep the character as a white guy. They changed him to a Samoan guy, which a lot of people were like, that's a great fucking choice. I could see that working for that character. But there were things that were in that time that made that movie successful. When the trailers came out and you saw that they cared about making that underwater city look fucking cool. Jason Momoa was going to be doing Jason Momoa things. He was going to have a badass fight scene. The fighting was going to have Samoan indigenous fighting style systems in it. You know, he's going to be giving culture to giving respect to the entire Samoan culture of that. You know, you're looking at these things. You're bringing in a fucking amazing cast too, like an amazing cast.
I'm calling it now, bro. I don't know how much of a James Wan fan you are, but James Wan is a fucking
He's a good director.
He's a fucking genius, and I'm a huge James Wan fan. I've been a fan of his since his horror days because I'm a horror fan. I'm a horror fan, and he started out in horror, dude. I'm gonna see this movie. I would not be surprised if this movie does relatively well in the box office. I would not be surprised.
I kind of feel like it's not. And my only issue with this is it's because it's the same story.
What story?
It's the same story of this guy having to come to terms with maturing and being a better king.
Okay.
Like, that's just it. Like, a lot of people don't know that Aquaman doesn't really have a lot of good, like, lure to him or good, like, you know, arcs in his comic book character. Kind of like the Wonder Woman character. Like, if I was to say other than Black Manta,
but that's what he is in the DCU. Like, where else do you place him? Like, what other storyline? What other story? Yeah, what other storyline would he possibly have in this movie?
So the only other thing that happens with him is he loses his arm. Like, that's the only other thing that happens to him in the comics. Yeah. Like, he gets his hand cut off, and he puts like a trident on it, and he ends up looking like Jason Momoa at that part. Okay. Beforehand, he used to be real clean cut, like a basic, like Prince Charming,
blonde
right?
hair.
Yeah, you remember that shit, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he fucking goes on a hiatus. He stops being king, you know, falls off the kingdom thing. You know, he has his hero journey. Like that's the cool thing about the Aquaman character is it's very like knights and dragons compared to like all the other superhero characters that are like, you know, stop the supervillain, trees and big robots and shit like that. His is very like kingdom-esque. And I've always told people before, if you give someone $1 million and they have to make a movie about some fucking Lord of the Rings shit, it'll work. It'll work. It's just because fantasy is so spectacular to us. It just kind of like, it's our ADHD or something about it. That fantasy worlds just always attract a lot of us. Yeah. It just attracts us, and there's nothing wrong with it. You know, it's a great escapism, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the cool thing about the first Aquaman movie is it's great escapism from what DC was putting out at that moment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I will 100% agree that when Aquaman 1 came out, I was super excited, and I think Aquaman's a shit character.
I didn't even see that movie in the fucking movie theaters.
I saw it in theater. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic.
I saw it on HBO Max, and I was like,
I saw it in 3D.
What the fuck? Like, I missed this?
Yeah, I saw it in 3D, and the whole war scene was like fucking wild as shit. Like the whole entire the fight in the whole kingdom fight at the end. Yeah, like that was amazing. Like it was cool. Like there was some really interesting stuff. But like I said, like for him to transcend, and then like you have Ocean Master that's going around bringing in all of these like different armies together, but they're just like meetups. Like there's no like explanation of those characters, their communities, what they look like. The world building was more like very like surface.
But that's comic books though. Comic books.
Yeah, it's like comic book stuff, and that's why I kind of like I didn't really worry about it too much at the time. But that was in hopes of like, okay, the other movies are gonna bring this up. The other movies are gonna kind of build this. Yeah. But and that's the thing in the trailer, he's like 1 million communities, 1 million different species and all this stuff, and all of them come to this kingdom, or all of them are a part. He says something like that.
Yeah.
but again, like Black Manta, the villain, like he's a fucking phenomenal character. In fact, my opinion is the creation of Black Manta was the best thing that ever came out of Aquaman. Like him as a villain throughout the entire DC landscape, he's a G. Like that fucking dude is cool as fuck all the way through.
I do agree with you that that was some really good character development in the
In the
first
first film,
movie. I do. I mean, they were simultaneously developing Aquaman as well. I
mm,
will put that above the Manta
the
development,
storyline.
but it was really fucking good though. It was
Yeah.
really fucking good.
Well,
That
that's the
movie is
thing.
fucking great, bro.
But that's the thing.
That's a fucking great movie, bro.
Black Manta is a great supervillain all the way through. Like, and I'm talking about the entire landscape across the DC universe.
Yeah.
That's like me saying, how do you like Solomon Grundy?
I can listen. I like him for the brute that he is, but there's nothing to him. There's no depth to him.
There's no depth to him.
There's no
But
depth.
what
To him.
makes him cool is that he's a great supervillain in the
Batman.
the Justice League Dark
Justice
one,
League.
the
Okay.
villains, right? The sinister, the villains of the Justice League.
Yeah.
When you put those guys together, it makes it amazing. Same thing with Black Manta. When you put him in that group of like the villains, and he works with like Solomon Grundy, or he works with fucking Deadshot or Slade.
Yeah.
Like,
Solomon
he's an
Grundy, he
amazing
doesn't even
fucking
he
villain.
can't talk. Yeah, there's nothing to him. He doesn't talk.
Who, Black Manta?
No, Solomon Grundy. Like there's
Oh
nothing
yeah,
that like
because
he can't talk.
He's a zombie.
Yeah, he
So
can't
like he
talk.
only has like one or two words, and he
Yeah.
talks in
He
rhymes.
grunt-
Anyways,
he grunts the
yeah,
shit.
he
Like
talks in
there's nothing
rhymes.
to him. Yeah.
And he always says his Grundy poem,
Yeah.
"Dead by Tuesday, wake by Wednesday," or he says some shit. It's
Yeah.
wild, but that's the thing. Like those characters they're very memorable, but based off of the fact that they're better in collabs with other villains.
Yeah.
If you put them in individual stories, they're not good. And the problem was in the comic books, Aquaman fought Black Manta like all the time. And you just got tired of it.
Yeah.
Like you were just like, okay, well, is there anything else? Like what else does Aquaman got to deal with? Like he has a Kraken fucking animal in the ocean. Like what about that? Is there an anti-Kraken? Does that thing have a villain? Is he gonna have to fight like Godzilla Krakens underwater? Like they never really kind of like do stuff with him. And my thing is Black Manta did such a good job in the first film, and he was like the secondary villain that was kind of like hired as like a secondary guy to kind of like try to do some damage, and it didn't work. Then he got cheated out by that cannonball shit that the wrapped around his neck and threw him into the ocean. But like, and then of course, like at the end, they just kind of like threw him away. Now he has this chance to redeem himself as a true villain of the Aquaman storyline, right?
Oh.
And that's kind of like what I'm throwing it up at, because other than that, it just looks the same. He just goes back home, like he has a kid now, like, and that's the thing too, like the kid, like him having a child. Would that be kind of based in the fact of like fuck, Brian, I'm gonna just kind of say this out in the open, right? Like Godzilla shit. Like why have him have a child with the Mara character Amber Heard when people don't want Mara Heard in the movie? Why solidify it by giving them a child now? They're making her.
This movie.
But you know what I'm saying? Is there like
this movie was being made before this whole thing, the Amber Heard thing came out?
why keep it? Why keep it? Not just cut it and redo something else? Like
a fucking part of the movie.
But that's the thing, like,
yo,
what
Chris,
part of
knock
this?
it off, yo. No one gives a fuck, bro. No one.
No,
cares.
Straight. No, I'm gonna be straight.
No one gives a shit that Amber Heard's in this fucking movie. No one's gonna not see this movie.
Why give him
Amber
a kid?
Heard's in it? Because that was where the character development went. No one cares, bro. No one gives a fuck. What
what story is this that he has a kid?
Are you gonna not see this movie because he has a kid?
No.
All right then. So what are we talking about?
But I just want to know, like, why give him a kid out of nowhere?
It's not out of nowhere. That's where the story developed. He was like where we last left off.
I don't even know in the comic books if he has a kid.
Where we last left off with Aquaman, he was banging Amber Heard, so he had a kid, and so now in this movie he's got a kid. What's the problem?
Does he in the comics?
Who cares?
I do because I want to know what story they're following. It's the whole
What
point.
if
They
they're
usually
what if they're not following that any story, and you're just getting a fucking
just getting a movie.
and you're just getting a fucking movie about whatever the fucking Aquaman they decide they
You know
want
what
to
I
give
thought
you.
it was going to be? You know what I thought this was going to be in some weird way?
Tell me.
This was going to be like his kid was going to be the
Exactly.
Arthur that the pretty boy Arthur that grows up. He's going to be Arthur too.
They ain't following crap. Who gives a fuck, bro? The
Yeah, they
last
follow.
movie, the last movie
But
made a
okay,
billion
but
fuck. The last movie.
I
What?
kind of
Listen,
feel like
Chris. Let me ask you
what's
the
up?
question. The last movie that made $1 billion. Tell me what story arc were they following?
The Ocean Master one,
Which one is that?
where Ocean Master is trying to be the king with an absentee. That's where he loses the arm.
But we didn't lose the arm, right?
No, he didn't lose his arm. That's what
Close?
everybody's waiting for.
How close? How close were they to that? Was was
I mean,
was
pretty close.
was Black Mantis or was
Yeah,
Black Manta involved in
yeah,
that as well?
yeah,
So he was involved in that.
yeah. Because he's always involved. Like
Okay.
that's it. Like the characters you got are the characters that are in the comics. Like that's it. This is as far as Aquaman goes, dude.
Okay.
Like that's why I'm even saying like fuck. They're really just bringing back the whole fucking cast for part two.
Because
They
the
brought back the
entire
fucking
movie,
brother.
the
They
entire
brought back
time I
Ocean
was
Master.
following that movie, like I didn't hear about anybody saying about any storylines that they were following
Yeah, it's
about.
the Ocean Master storyline.
No
Ocean
one, no
Master.
one was pissed about them deviating
Yeah.
from anything. And now all of a sudden, now we're being fucking
The thing is like it's like I said.
semantic
Like that's one
skies
thing.
or fucking Aquaman.
The Aquaman story is pretty cut and dry.
No
Like,
one gave a listen. I'm gonna call you out, bro, because you don't give a fuck about Aquaman. You were a fucking
no, fuck it.
Aquaman
No, no, no,
fan,
no.
but now
Yeah,
all
I
of a
was,
sudden you want to be a stickler for what storyline they're fucking fuck out of here, bro. Like, what are you talking
I'm just
about?
like the reason why is because there was a point where the director during the case of the Amber Heard trial said, "We're taking her out of the movie. We're taking her completely out of the movie. There's only like maybe like a minute of her in the film.
Okay.
I mean, maybe it's still the same way, and she's gonna fucking die in the first 20 minutes." Right? Maybe she's like, there's a part where she's punching a window in the trailer. Maybe she drowns. I don't know. Fuck. How does a fish drown? I don't know. Probably the same way that fucking why Jason Momoa needs to dry his Aquaman suit when it's, a fucking wetsuit. He's going to be in the water anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe she's going to die and he's going to be left as like a single father raising this child on his own or whatever. Like, all I'm asking is like, just for some type of like anchor to where they're going to go. And I'm kind of quoting it on the sense of like, okay, cool. Like this is where they're going to do the redemption story of Ocean Master, which is very close to the Flash universe, the Flashpoint, where he ends up bringing his brother back. He doesn't stay a villain, but he becomes a loyalist to Aquaman Arthur as a king because he knows he's about the kingdom. Yeah. And it's kind of like that in the trailer where you're seeing like where they're doing like their brotherly thing, and it's kind of weird. Like they never get along like that in the comic books too well. It's not until the Flashpoint paradox that he ends up being like a straight up like follow my king. But that's because Arthur's more of a general, like a villain general in that storyline, which you remember from the animated series, right? Yeah. Or even the comics too. Yeah, I'm just trying to like anchor something so I could have some kind of reference to it. The kid thing I'm kind of confused about because off the top of my head, and again, like I'm not a big Aquaman fan because there's really nowhere to go. It's the same thing as Wonder Woman. Same thing as Wonder Woman. But I just don't want but it doesn't even fucking matter, does it? I was gonna say Wonder Woman 2082 or whatever. Like it doesn't matter anymore. Like the chick's gonna get dissolved, and this movie's gonna get dissolved.
They're just gonna do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. Like I don't know why. I guess mentally I wanted to do good.
I come here every week and I try to manage your expectations when it comes to these comic book movies.
You have to, yeah.
As opposed to like the source material, you can't, bro. James Wan is gonna do whatever he wants. Well, he didn't even write it, but he's directing it. But like these writers, they're gonna do whatever they want. Like when it comes to like making, they're in the business of making money, dude. Like,
yeah, it doesn't even matter because it all gets deleted after this.
And on top of that, this movie doesn't matter.
Bro. Yeah, dude.
It doesn't fucking matter, bro, at all.
I just remember that right now. I was like, well, James Gunn's gonna come in and just delete it all.
We're
gonna next time we see Jason Momoa, he's Lobo or he's I don't know, he's just some other.
You'll have people like us sitting here debating on whether or not Jason Momoa did a great job as Aquaman, but fucking James Gunn is sitting over there like it don't make a fucking difference whether or not he did or not. He's out of here, motherfuckers, bro. So it doesn't make a difference.
How does this movie kind of like? Okay, I understand. Okay, so I'm gonna call that. I'll fucking spade that shit out real quick. I know it's $1 billion movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know that the first one's $1 billion movie.
It is.
So for me to ask a question like, well, why follow through with making a part two and having it before James Gunn's bullshit? It's $1 billion movie. Like if you need to save cash, this is like the last ditch. This is a Hail Mary. Like in
I
my
honestly
opinion, this is
think
kind
that
of like a
this,
Hail Mary to save
out
money.
of all the movies that have come out, this is literally the only one that makes sense because the last one made $1 billion.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like
This
so
is
for
the
them
only
to kind of
one that makes this is the
it's the only one that makes sense for them to
fucking makes
continue it,
sense.
right? Or not
Yeah.
continue, just at least make like the sequel that had already been planned or whatever. And them already having most of it filmed and then all the other shit happening and hey, well, we're gonna finish it out anyways because it made $1 billion. You can't fuck around with that.
Yeah.
What if it's successful? I'm sorry about that. What if it's successful?
I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. I think I'm not saying it's gonna be successful. I'm not.
No,
I'm gonna jump out the window
playing
on
with that
that.
idea right now.
But what I'm saying is, it has the potential. It has the fan base.
The pizzazz,
It has everything that this could surprise you.
That this
Like,
it could
this
be a fucking
could fuck
small
around.
dagger for no
It
reason.
might not make $1 billion, but it could actually do some damage.
But it could top over Blue Beetle, man.
It could definitely do that, especially if it's a good movie, right? So, like, if it's a good movie, it's gonna be word of mouth, and people are gonna go out to actually go see this movie. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised. Listen, I wouldn't say about a 90% chance of this movie flopping, right? But that
Dude, they're not even promoting it.
there's no
Dude,
promotion. They gave up on it.
Out.
They gave up on it because they're not gonna they're not doing anything else with
this
this character. But there's like a 90% chance that people like the DCU is a very toxic fan base, and people could go out to just see this movie just to be in spite of everything that's going on.
Everybody else,
and make this something. So listen, I'm gonna see it because I like the first movie. I want to see what they want. I don't even give a fuck that they're not doing anything else going forward. I'm gonna see because I like Jason Momoa. I like him as Aquaman. He is my Aquaman. I want to see what goes on in this next movie.
I guess my last question for this, because I don't I'm just something about it. I don't even care about talking about it too much.
Spent 30 minutes.
If it's successful, what does James Gunn do since Blue Beetle was his first top off and it's like it didn't even do good?
I don't think he changed his course. I think wherever he's
don't
headed,
play with it at all?
I think wherever he's headed, he's on that course, and everything that was prior to him, it's gone.
Okay.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why there hasn't been any promotion for this movie, because they don't plan on doing anything with this afterwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I just think they don't. They know that there's possibility for it to be successful.
It could have,
and they're trying to make it not successful.
It could have been. And I'm not one of these people that are gonna jump on. I'm not gonna dogpile on Amber Heard saying that she is the reason why this movie is gonna fail. No, there's plenty of reasons why this movie should fail. But I do think there is an outside chance that this movie could succeed as well.
Yeah. True that. Well, cool, man. Cool. Aquaman's gonna be coming out. Let me check the date real quick. Date of release. Release date is set for December 20th, 2023.
And I'm a fan of Yahya. What's his name? Yahya Abdul Abdeen or Yahya Abdul Mateen. That's his name.
Yeah.
I love that guy, bro. I don't give a fuck what he's in. I'm gonna support this movie just because I support him. So fuck that.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal actor, and he brought such a fucking prowess to the character. You know what? When all this shit was going down with Jonathan Majors, I thought he would have been a good replacement. I thought he would have been a really fucking good replacement. I thought it would have been his acting.
I'm a really big fan.
Yo, his voice is so fucking cool, like deep as fuck. And like if he was Kang just behind the mask talking like super like crazy deep, I was like, that's a scary sounding motherfucker right there, man. It
wasn't weird to you that in this trailer we only saw Amber Heard for like 0.5 seconds?
Oh no, that's not weird to me. That was what he was promising people
to begin with. They're hiding this bitch.
Yeah, they are. Their ass, they're gonna be like, yo, remember that thing about Ezra Miller where you're gonna see him naked in this film?
Yeah.
That was the man. They did that shit in the Flash, and I literally almost walked out of that bitch. I was like, "Yo, this guy, fucking terrorizing people, treating people like shit, grooming kids, having kids with guns in a fucking farmhouse or whatever the fuck." For them to be like, it'd be really cool if we got this guy naked on scene. I was like, I'm out of here, dude. This is disgusting, man. Just I don't want to see this guy in any kind of irregular light. Keep it simple. Make him look normal. Like, just don't give me that weird shit. And they 100% were like, "Yo, let's get him naked." Did you see? Tim Burton came out and made a comment about the whole thing.
About what?
About how they've treated his characters.
Whose characters?
Batman and all that stuff. Let me tell you, Tim Burton. The Flash. He made a comment about it today.
What do you mean?
Yeah, Tim Burton came out. Seems right now Gizmo, like everybody's covering it right now. Screen Rant.
What did he say?
Watch it. I'll read you the whole quote. Let me get to it real quick. Let's see. No, I do not have regrets. I will say this: when you work that long on a project and it doesn't happen and it affects you for the rest of your life, but you get passionate about things, and each thing is an unknown journey. And it wasn't there yet, but it's one of those experiences that never leaves you a little bit. He's talking about in an interview with BFI, Burton was asked whether he had any regrets about the canceled Superman Lives movie when it was canned in 1998, because he was supposed to be the director of the Nicolas Cage one. 3 weeks before filming was to start, Burton had spent 2 years working on the film and pre-production of Cage, Superman Lives, and the Flash movie cameos. He also said, but also it goes into another AI thing. And this is why I think I'm over it with the studio. They can take what you did, Batman or whatever, and culturally misappropriate it or whatever they want to, or to do whatever they want to do and call it. Even though you're a slave to Disney or Warner Brothers, they could still do whatever they want. So in my latter years of the life, I'm in quite revolt against all of this.
He just did the fucking Dumbo movie not that long ago.
Yeah, but what he's talking about is he didn't. He was supposed to work on Superman, and they canned it, but they gave it to this guy instead.
No, I get that. I get that. But
that was a whole creation of his.
What I'm saying is that he's saying that he's in revolt of the major companies like Disney, and what I'm saying is he just did the fucking Dumbo live action movie a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for Disney, no.
Yeah. So what is he talking about?
But it's in that same concept where you're just a slave to the studios, whatever they want to do with whatever asset.
So then why do the Dumbo movie then?
Huh?
So then why do the Dumbo movie then?
He's making money. I mean, it's just a dude making money, man.
So you can put aside your shit that you're talking about right now.
But was that person that created Dumbo still alive?
What?
Was he still alive though, to be able to come back and at least put any effort or any work, or be brought in as a person to be like, hey, this is my thing that I created and you want to use it, like at least give me some type of royalty or have me be involved in the project.
You think Tim Burton was worried about that while he was doing the movie?
The Dumbo movie? No, that's the thing. Those people aren't creative. They don't give a shit about that stuff. And that's what he's saying. Like,
okay,
listen, but I'm just telling you.
I'm a Tim Burton fan, so I don't really have a take on this. I don't know why he's saying this. I don't actually understand the context of what's going on here. But if he's saying that the intellectual properties are I don't know what he's trying to say, dude, but like it doesn't make any sense to me, because he's making a lot of fucking money and he has no problems taking anyone's intellectual properties and making them his own in his own version of it. So what are we talking about?
Well, for me, it's one of those things that I think Tim Burton's talking about where like the Superman Lives movie never saw the light of day.
Okay.
And instead of them like taking the IP that never got released.
Okay.
And then the company, without acknowledging Tim Burton's like not approval or, hey, we're going to use this that you never really released, but it's all your idea. And for some reason, since you released a documentary about it, 5-6 years ago to like the internet or wherever they released the Kevin Smith thing and people found out about it, they clamored at the idea of Nicolas Cage being a Superman, and it was like a meme and created a whole
So,
phenomenon.
Chris,
Well,
this
hold
is
on,
my
it creates a whole phenomenon and stuff.
but my
So
point is,
then they go
my
back in
point
this
is
movie.
that, but my point is that that movie was so long ago, right?
Yeah, it never got made.
Since then, right? Since
Mhm.
then, he has done work with the same companies that he is just still talking shit about.
Yeah. But
That
like,
doesn't make any sense.
but that's the thing. I'm telling you, like, in my opinion, what I think what's going on, and the reason why he's upset is because as an artist, they never did give him the opportunity to release this character.
But they gave him an
Out of
opportunity to
him,
do more work and make
well,
more money.
other stuff. But the thing is like all of those things he created as an artist and made him more popular, right? So like the last thing he did was like the Wednesday movie. And they brought in and they curated, of course, all the characters he had previously worked with the Addams Family's films.
Yeah.
So like he, of course, brought these people in, even Christina Ricci and all of the characters, brought in a bunch of people from the original IP so that they could get it right. And it was pretty good. Now the thing is this Superman story didn't see any light of day. And this was back in the day before, like, I mean, not before internet, but before like the idea of news being traveling as fast as it does nowadays. So the masses of people didn't really hear about this until 2017, 2015, until the documentary got released. That's when people were like, whoa, Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman. There's some little videos and some silly shit. Like, and people were like, oh man, I would have watched that shit or whatever. And it started to make an impact in people. And the Warner Brothers saw it, but still never saw the light of day. Never saw the light of day.
Yeah.
After creating all of that, putting that image out there, making people kind of care about this and be like, whoa, that would be really cool. Now this fucking movie out of nowhere is like, yo, let's put Nicolas Cage as Superman. That'd be real fucking cool, right? And it's like, why? Why was it cool? Because of them doing that. For their moment in life when they released the information to the public and let people know that that was a thing, that's what got people excited. That was like the Snyder Cut. Like the Snyder Cut. You didn't know there was a 4-hour release of the Snyder Cut. It wasn't until Snyder himself was like, nah, I did that shit better. Boom, internet fucking takes it. Everybody wants to see it. Big enough fucking noise that the company was like, well, fuck, we can make money from it.
So Tim Burton thinks he was done wrong. He felt.
Yeah, that's what I kind of think. I think he's
you
done
agree,
wrong as an
you
artist.
agree with them, right? You agree with them?
I think there's a part of it that as an artist, he's been done wrong.
Okay.
Because whoever created that scene and then did him fighting robots, like, and did his image, they didn't know what Tim Burton had in mind for it. And none of us did because it was never really a story, but they were just like, yo, this is an asset we have because we own it.
Dude,
let's put it out there.
They did like a 5-second spot with fucking Nicolas
and
Cage.
I even for me, like, dude, I was like, that was the shittiest cameo I've ever seen in a movie. Like, I don't know why the fuck you put like a 80-year-old fucking Nicolas Cage on the Spider and a de-aged as Superman, and then have him do like the fucking camera spanning away, like he's like, I'll see you again, my friend, or whatever. Like, yeah, it's, to me, it was just one of those things. Like, they put it in there because they know it was a popular meme. They were like, that'll get people to watch this. That'll be real cool. Or like, listen, even the aspect of
I am just so tired of these Hollywood millionaires and billionaires
victims and stuff
and victimizing themselves over shit. You guys made a lot of fucking money in Hollywood, bro. A lot of fucking money. Listen, and again, I am a huge Tim Burton fan, but I don't agree with him on this. So what? You want me to cry for you as a person that's struggling to make my bills and make my ends
just normal
meet?
Living.
You want me to cry for you or to be upset for you when I know that even after that whole deal with the whole Nicolas Cage thing happened, the same companies still fuck with you and made you money.
Yeah.
So, do I think you're wrong? No, bro. No, I don't fucking think you're wrong. Like, okay, so you were involved in something that didn't matriculate. That happens all the fucking time, bro. It happens every fucking day.
Yeah.
So, like, Hollywood is crazy, bro.
It's a little silly right now.
It's crazy, bro.
Billy Barnett.
Why the fuck is this? Why is that fucking news? Why is that news that we have to talk about fucking
Tim
Burton fucking being pissed off
that
they use fucking Nicolas Cage's Superman 5 seconds in a movie? Why is that news?
I have no idea. I just saw it like a little while ago, so I don't know what it was right now that you said something about Batman or the Flash that I was like, oh, Tim Burton. Yeah, but Billy
Fuck Tim
Barnett in the
Burton.
comment section
But I
says,
love him.
I love him though. I love
I
that
love,
guy.
I love that guy, yo. I do.
Do you think Universal would be interested in buying either Warner Brothers or its assets like Harry Potter and DC? Warner is in debt, and I'm sure Universal would play gladly to buy Harry Potter.
Only
Well,
issue with
fuck,
that is
anybody
that
would buy Harry Potter, man.
only
Shit.
issue with that is that Universal's in debt too.
Yeah.
Universal is not in the black. They're in the red as well.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of research into this. Uh, there's not a lot of companies out there that are making a lot of money right now
Yeah.
at
I think
all.
the only one that people have been kind of clamoring at the idea of is the Apple buying asset into Disney. I don't know. That's kind of like a big
I did
thing
hear
right
about Universal absorbing Warner Brothers, but it's not
now.
just Warner Brothers anymore. They would have to absorb unless they I don't see Discovery letting go of Warner Brothers just
Mhm.
for the fuck of it. So there's like I don't see Universal having or getting Warner Brothers without a hefty price tag at this point, and I don't think they got that, bro.
Yeah,
So
and then
no.
there was the ABC apparently looking at they put a bid out there for Disney. Did you hear about that?
Who?
ABC
They put out a price tag for what was it?
for Disney.
What was it?
Uh 10 trillion? 10 billion? 10 billion.
10 billion or 10 trillion?
I want to say billion. Let me check. ABC bids on Disney. 10 billion.
I think that's I
Brian
think,
A. Allen bids 10 billion for some Disney cable networks.
yeah, that's not Disney. That's what I'm saying. Like 10 billion is low. They're not offering 10 billion for all of Disney. 10 billion is low. That's for
Just parks,
some
right?
that's for some of it. Yeah, 10 billion
Yeah.
is extremely
It was
low.
like 3 hours ago they were talking about this.
Yeah,
Nat
Disney is
Geo
Disney would be worth a lot more than that.
maybe. Allen owns the Weather Channel and a number of other TV channel networks, over the air networks, channels like Pet TV, Comedy TV, Recipe TV, Cars TV, ES TV, My Destination,
I would have
Justice Central.
accepted 10 trillion before 10 billion. 10 trillion actually makes
Yeah, that
more
kind of
fucking
sounds like
sense.
more.
That
Yeah,
makes
for
more
all of
sense.
Disney.
You'll probably wait like 20 years, 30 years to make that
The Walt
the money back,
Disney
but
Company
you'll get
hit
it.
out of the ballpark when it received a bid for cable networks FX, Nat Geo, and the broadcasting network ABC for 10 billion. That's what they want to buy from him.
Yeah.
That's what they want to buy. Interesting. But yeah. Actually, but talking about this stuff, right? And Billy Barnett also says Nicolas Cage didn't get people to watch that Teen Titans Go movie either, because he was actually Superman. He narrated Superman's voice, which was
narrated Superman.
he did a fantastic fucking job though, Billy. He did a fantastic. My favorite fucking scene is when the entire cast in Teen Titans is just throwing kryptonite at him. Like that man, I laughed my fucking ass off so hard on that scene. Like I'm a big fan of Superman. That shit was funny as fuck. Going on to the next part, talking about what we were talking about earlier. You made a comment. I can't remember what it was. It was right at the end of this, talking about how when it comes to money, people got to get paid. Like they got to get paid for this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've heard this, but going off of the conversation we've been having, this is kind of like the Ezra Miller situation when we were just covering it every week. But Drew Barrymore got the permission to come back to doing her show, and a lot of people during the strike are really, really upset. And the other person that's also got the rights to it is Bill Maher. Bill Maher is going to be hosting his show again on network or wherever he's at, on HBO or whatever. A lot of people are upset about this. How do you feel about the Drew Barrymore situation and the Bill Maher show coming back to host the shows to get the people that are non-union in their casting paid? Because that's kind of like the ideas.
From what I know about the Drew Barrymore thing, is that she's not she's there's no writers. So there's no one to be upset about. There's no writers on her show. She's writing it either herself or she's hiring non-union people.
I was gonna say, I think it's
and not only that, but there's other shows that are out there. The View is coming back. Um, there's more shows that are coming back, and why aren't they getting the same issues? Why aren't
Why is
they
she not?
having?
Why are they not getting it?
Yeah, why is she the one taking the blunt, like the brunt of this? Why is that?
I
There's
guess because
multiple.
she's like, is
There's
she a bigger
multiple.
drag, or is she a bigger name in this situation?
No, I actually know the answer to that. The answer to that is because she is actually an actress, right? She's actually an actress, and she's supposed to know better, and she's supposed to have a bigger stance. But what do these people do that have these shows, but they have to, like, these people that are involved? What about the production that are involved with this and that they're not getting paid? They're not
Yeah,
getting paid.
because
While these writers and these actors want to have the strike, the people that are in the production aspect of this
the
of
people
these
that are really
shows,
hurting, the blue collar part of
yeah,
it.
like what do you say to these people?
Yeah, how are you taking care of those people?
So
Right.
I'm assuming that a lot of people just want these actors and companies to put like this kind of like GoFundMe or these funds to where they just dump $500,000 in and allow these people to eat while the strike is happening. But
Mhm.
what if someone doesn't want to do that? What if someone just wants to get back to business? All right, so we won't have the writers, but now I'm still employing these thousands of people behind me. What's wrong with
Yeah,
that?
and I didn't even think about that the other day, but like, what about the people that are on these sets that work alongside these people that are non-union at all? Like, they're suffering because of the writer's block, also
Well, you have to
the
be
writer's strike.
union. It's just a different union. You can't work on these studios without being in a union. It just depends on what union you're in. Like if you're part of like the Teamsters or something like that, that has nothing to do with the writers union or whatever like that. So
Mhm,
like the writers can be on strike, but the production union, the Teamsters don't, they're not on strike. They still need to get paid.
mhm.
Dude, and they don't have a fucking, you know, a foundation that pays them for
That
this.
pays them.
So what do you say to those people?
Well, not only that, the other thing that I heard also in writing was a lot of the like a lot of people are upset at some of the way these actors are acting with the writers' strike or the actors' strike, because when the writers' strike was going on, all the actors are still working. Like, they weren't there alongside until it had affected them. And then when it affected the actors and they went on strike, that's when they were like, here we are with our writers, alongside of them. But when the writers were on strike by themselves, none of the actors were walking off set and doing things for them. They were still going to work every day and making that money. It wasn't until it affected the actors that they were out there striking and talking about how no one should be out there. No one, even if you're non-union or whatever, you shouldn't be there. You should be with us, the actors.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked up, ain't it?
No, the real fucked up part is that the California governor or state legislator, I don't know who did it, but they proposed a bill. You remember how I was saying how the government was going to probably have to step
Eventually get
in,
involved.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing of that is, do you know who has to pay that? Like,
Taxpayers.
yeah, dude.
Yeah, yeah. Well, not us, but Californians.
So, like,
Now you got to take
you,
into consideration, is it
so
really worth it?
you're telling me that you want me to have sympathy for these Hollywood writers and these Hollywood actors that are making millions of
Millions
dollars,
of dollars a movie. Thousand
and
dollars a day.
in order for them to feel secure and good about themselves and their position, you're asking the taxpayers that are just barely getting by themselves in this
But they have to pay this shit.
economy that they have to bail them out, bro. I'm starting to have a really different view on this whole strike thing daily, and it's not a good thing. Like I'm starting to be like, all right, well then I don't give a fuck. Hollywood needs to figure out Hollywood. Like you guys created this mess. You guys need to figure this shit
Oh
out.
shit, you're
It,
probably getting to where I'm at. You're probably
if you're
getting to where I was at the very beginning, right?
like, if
Where I
you're
was like, why don't
saying
they
to
just go off on
me,
their own and do their own
if you're
shit? Like,
saying to me that your only option of figuring this out is by asking the fucking
taxpayers.
taxpayers to bail you out of this,
Yeah.
that's crazy to me. That's insane to me, bro.
Yeah.
And one of the most cost, like the most worst places to live in the country, you're asking these people to bail these these Hollywood actors that are making, some of them, not everyone, but some of them are making millions of fucking dollars, bro.
Mhm.
These writers are making hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of thousands of dollars a fucking year. That's insane, bro. That's crazy. I hope that this and it's gonna go through. It's gonna go through, and the citizens of California are gonna bail the fucking writers and the
Yeesh.
actors out, and then what? That's gonna be gross. It's gonna be gross, bro.
And all the fucking altruistic fucking CEOs of all these studios will continue to sip their fucking monies from their yacht and not even have to pay out anything to anyone
Yeah,
because they're gonna make the fucking
the
government and
taxpayers
everybody do it.
to pay for it. Yep.
That's fucking wild, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But then what happens? You get the government involved, then the government's gonna have to have a say so, then, right?
No,
Because that's the way it works. No, that's the way it works.
That's not how it works. No, that's not how it works. They're gonna fucking they're gonna throw some money at this shit and hope it goes away. Because Hollywood is such a major part of LA and the town and the city that they're gonna throw some money at this. They're gonna take it from the
That's
taxpayers
because
and
other
hope it goes
states
away.
give money to California.
They're gonna hope it goes away. That's what they're doing. They're gonna throw some money at it and hope it goes away.
I don't know, man. Like every time you allow the government to get involved, like they have to have some kind of foothold in it in some way also. And I'm not talking about like it's not going to be like what was it in the Avengers movie where they're like, "Yo, can you get Tony Stark to fly by my kid's party or whatever?" Like it's not going to be like that. The government is it always has a purpose when it comes to shit like this.
That's fucked up. I didn't real like I when I realized what that entails when asking the government to step in. Now I'm like, now it's nasty. Like that's nasty.
Yeah, they're gonna make it. They're gonna make the regular community deal with it.
Yeah, the
Can't
people
even
that are
fill
just
potholes,
scraping,
man.
the one that are just scraping by to get, just scraping to get
I mean,
by.
the government right now. I mean, this goes off of the idea of how I talk about allowing the government to do like free healthcare
Yeah,
and the VA. You look at the VA when it comes to how it takes care of the soldiers, and it's not good.
yeah,
Like a lot of the military will tell you, like I hate the VA. Like I would rather go to a private medical service because I know that with my money they'll care for me because I have money.
hmm
And that's kind of what it does. It incentivizes these companies to work harder for their people. You look at government subsidizing for the homeless situation that's going on in California, and it's non-existent. Like literally, they're incentivizing people and the homeless people that if they are homeless and you stay homeless, we'll give you $200 a month.
yeah,
If you stay homeless, that's going to encourage them not to want to get out of there. It's going to encourage them not to get out of the situation because they can acquire the money they need to do whatever debauchery that they're doing with that money in the first place. Like, I'm not saying that people are on the streets always doing bad, but living in those conditions kind of forces you into situations you don't need to be able just to live life comfortably.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And it ends up being to where sometimes if you can't get food or you can't get something, you have to have something that subsidizes your appetite. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's with drugs or something else. Like, and that's a horrible situation for these people. But how is it that we were able to deal with the homeless situation during the coronavirus? And then when the coronavirus stopped, everybody just got kicked out again on the streets.
hmm
Like for that moment in time, the government was like, everybody needs to be under a roof, in a room, isolated. We're going to put everybody in a hotel. Fuck that hotel. We're buying the entire thing and we're turning it into a housing area for all these people that are on the streets. They would buy those fucking hotels out and they would put people in those fucking hotels. Same thing with the immigration problem. When they bring in people from across the border, they put them in hotels. Like here in our area, they actually put them in very, very the nicer hotels in like the nice areas of town, like stuff that we can't even afford normally. Like the tourist hotels, they'll deck out a whole entire floor to get people in it. And it's like one of those things. How come like when it comes to the situation where the government doesn't, like they always, I don't know, man, the government is just they fuck around and find out all the time, man. It's just what it is. Billy Barnett in the comment section, I wanted to hit his last comment. He says, some non-guild riders might be able to get work. Creature Commandos is coming because the riders are not a part of the Riders Guild, apparently. Holy shit. That's James Gunn's shit.
I have a friend that's actually a director and writer. She's thriving. She just put out a movie the other day. So there's a lot of people that are non-guild writers and directors that are
there are people that are out there doing some bangers, huh?
I mean, if it's independent, and a lot of people, have to do it on their own.
Well, okay, so this was the same thing too. and this is my opinion on it. Bill Maher. He has a
Yeah.
tendency to be kind of like outspoken, speaks his mind, kind of like he's either a dick sometimes or not, but he's pretty well spoken. And he kind of put it out there that he's bringing his show back, and it's like, well, I got to get my people paid, and no one's doing anything for it. Like no one's helping me take care of my workers and the people that work with me. So
Okay.
if I know this makes money, I'm gonna help my people out because this is how it kind of goes, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, because does that make sense to me, right?
It makes sense.
And it's like fuck. Well, someone's got to help these people out somehow, and he knows that that's working.
Yeah.
Putting these people back to work gets them paid. But people are out there, the other ones, the other actors and all that shit are like, you're a scab, you're a piece of shit. Like, you're not supporting. It's like, well, what do you do? What do you do? Where's the middle ground? Where are you over here telling us
The thing
that
of it is, bro, is that people are starting to realize that this isn't going to be resolved anytime soon.
That's what I said. I said that earlier. I was like,
So if
2
you
years for Marvel,
yeah, if you
1 year
think
at least just for this.
that just holding out and let's say all right, this is my thing, right?
Yeah.
So you remember how like The Rock and all these people started like donating like $500,000 to these
Yeah.
funds to help
Oprah and The
people,
Rock. Yeah.
everyone, right?
Uh,
Who's to say that that's enough money?
it's not. It's fuck no. It's not enough money.
Who's to say that this doesn't drag out for another year or a year and a half? And
Yeah.
that money is dried up, and now you need more money. Do you think they're going to donate another $500,000?
That 500 ain't gonna do shit. And there should be like,
I don't want to scoff at it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to use this platform to do that because I think that it's going to go to the right place and it's going to help a lot of people do the right thing, right? But what I'm saying is that's not the answer. That's not the answer. The answer is to fix this so that we don't need another round of
we don't need
money,
the handouts from
right?
everybody.
So it's like, who's to say that that's going to be this like that $500,000 from whoever is coming from, it's not going to be dried up within a year. Who's to say that this is going to end in a year?
No, I don't think it's going to end in a year. I literally, the only way that this ends up getting fixed is if the screenwriters break and they give the studios what they want. Because again, they have no barter. There's nothing that they have that the studio needs. 100%. And what's going to happen, and this is the shit part, and I'll tell you right now what's going to happen. Like a month, 2 months from now, you're going to have people start to break off independently to work for these companies without the union. You're going to have people that are all the major actors, all the elite actors, the class A actors are all going to go back to work and be like, oh, well, we're going back to work because we got to keep the studios active in some way. And we're going to do, and this because they need money. It's because those motherfuckers want money and they're going to get paid to go back to acting, and they're just going to make it seem like they're victimized into going back to work. You watch, and they're going to be doing a martyring shit to go to work.
I want to address this comment. Thank you, Billy, for commenting. We appreciate everybody commenting. Dave, everybody, Billy. He said the theory is that the studios don't want to comply because if they share their streaming numbers, the actual numbers, they'll be embarrassed. I'm gonna give a little bit of pushback on this because I don't think that's the case here. If that were the case, they would be dressing it up as if the streaming services were doing well. It's widely known that no streaming service is doing well. So even if I think if they gave the real numbers, they would be even more embarrassed than what they are now. But they're embarrassed. It's widely known that Disney Plus is not making any money. It's widely known that Peacock isn't making any money. It's widely known that Max isn't making any money. The only this has been we've talked about this not that long ago, but the only streaming service that is making a profit is Netflix. That is the only streaming service that's making a profit at the end of the year, and that is the streaming service that the crux of this strike is. They're making it about Netflix. The writers and the actors, they're not going after Disney. They're not going after Peacock. They're not going after fucking whatever Universal. Well, that's Peacock, but they're not going after anything else. They're going after fucking Netflix because they're the only ones that are profitable, bro. There's a reason for that.
hold on real quick. I want to say real quick, Drew, my boy Andrew Rivera in the comment section sent us 6,400 stars, man. We can't see
Nice.
the stars on the comment section here in our studio. It doesn't allow us, but I have to go back because every time Andrew posts, he usually sends us stars. He's one of my students, boxer, dude, fucking fantastic, entrepreneur, just what a fucking fantastic guy. And he
Great.
usually helps us
Thank
out,
you.
sends us some
Thank
stars. His
you.
brother Caesar usually jumps in too, so he'll come in and kind of jump in the comment section and send us 6,400 stars, man. Thank you very much. 6,400, right? 6,400, 6,400. Is that the way you say it?
I don't know what the
Oh
fuck.
man, I'm bad with numbers. But thank
I
you very
can't
much.
see it. So
I-
what the fuck?
yeah, it never comes up. But usually, okay, so I learned this about anybody out there. If you do podcasting or if you're interested in that, thank you, brother. Thank you very much. If you are on StreamYard and you get stars sent to you and you're a streamer and you do this stuff, usually the stars do not pop up from Facebook. I don't know how it does it with Twitch yet. We haven't had anything from Twitch yet, but I remember Andrew had sent 500 the last time. I think he sent 550. And I saw that it came up and it was blank, and I gave you a shout out just as normal, but I didn't thank you for the stars, but it's because it didn't show up. But I was like, this time I was like, okay, Andrew came up and there's no message. Let me go check the Facebook, and yeah, it's there, man. I appreciate you, brother. I really do. That's super cool. Yeah, we never get stars that much, but that's so nice, man. That's so nice. So it's something that we've recently got acquired for the Facebook, that we're able to get stars from people if they ever want to send us stars. Kind of equivocate to, I think once you get a certain amount, you get some type of amenity of monies. How do you say monies? How do you say it? Monies, past tense, multiple. But yeah, thank you very much. Dude. I appreciate you, brother. But yeah, it's very crazy. I think within the next couple of months, dude, like you're gonna start seeing like the higher class actors go back to work slowly, but then be acting like the only reason why they're going is because some type of martyring situation, but it's because they need the cash to kind of fulfill their lavishing lifestyles, or they want to keep getting paid, and they're not gonna care about the little guy. They're just gonna look out for themselves, but they need to be able to look out for themselves, talk about it in a victimizing way, but still, go out there and get paid and get that bill. That's the sad part, is when they start eating each other. That's going to be the fucking horrible part. And that's when I think it starts breaking apart. So real quick, off of that idea, let me ask, the Rock and Oprah come out and donate 500,000, give $1 million to the whatever, or was it 500,000 just in general? Was it 2 and 2, or was it just one set? Like, was it 500,000 or 500,000, 500,000, or
I think multiple people gave $500,000.
why don't they all just come together and create their own union and get away from this mess and create their own platform, do their own studio?
I don't know. That's not what they're used to.
But you get what I'm saying, right?
I get it.
Like, I mean, the unions out there, they're doing their thing and they're asking for all this shit, but why not be like, you know what, dude? Like,
You're asking me why these nasty ass motherfuckers in Hollywood don't fucking become their own nasty ass fucking shit in Hollywood.
Yeah, they just go off and do their own thing.
Bro. Like at this point, like I don't even care at this point. Like you guys
just
figure that out.
With it, right?
Figure that shit out, bro. Like when it comes to this strike thing, y'all figure it out, bro. The fact that you guys once you guys proposed a bill to where you had people bailing them out, I'm done with y'all. I don't give a fuck what y'all do. The actors can rot. I'm sorry, I don't want to say that.
There's so many companies that have lost their businesses that are small business.
Yeah,
they've suffered so much and needed more bailout than the bigger businesses.
Exactly.
And the government didn't
nasty now.
fucking squat
now at this point, I've lost all sympathy for everyone involved in this, and you guys decided to join this this union, and so now y'all figure it out. That's where I'm at. Don't ask the taxpayers to bail you out for this.
Billy Barnett leaves a great comment and says, Iger and Disney are saying that Disney Plus is going to be profitable in 2024, but in reality, reality is painfully creeping in. Like, that's so true, man. That's so
2024. I would have been better if they said 2025 or maybe 2026.
Yeah, give it a little bit more time, but
they're not going to be proud.
They're just barely recovering from all this.
Disney Plus. Let's just isolate that, because Disney is profitable, right? Disney itself as an IP,
it's an IP. It's huge,
profitable. But as a streaming service, it's not profitable. So if you want, I wanted to say, if you want to say like 2025, 2026, that's a little bit more realistic. But be profitable by a year, that's not going to happen.
True that. Well, that brings me into my next part and our last part of the conversation, which we don't really have a lot going on left because we have very little time. We're usually end by about 11 o'clock. Um, Brian,
Yo.
speaking about Disney Plus,
Yes.
bringing that into Star Wars, Episode 5 of Ahsoka Tano.
Okay.
How do you feel?
I dug it. I dug it
It
a
was
lot.
good.
I didn't think it was as spectacular as you know what I realized, bro. And this is what I don't like. I don't like when something is good and someone thinks it is good, but they don't think it's the best thing since sliced bread. That people hate them for
Mhm.
that. And I've realized that the Star Wars fandom has become so toxic that it's been divided. Right? It's
Mhm.
people that are Dave Filoni and bust, and then everybody else. And I
Okay.
don't like that. I don't like that. I think that the people that are Dave Filoni and bust are just jaded. I think those people are jaded, and I think the people that are or is in a whole another realm themselves. Like, why can't we just like it and just take it for what it is? Like that episode was probably the best episode. No, I liked episode 4 more than I liked episode 5.
Okay.
Um,
That's
it was
fair. That's
great.
fair.
It was a good episode. I liked episode 4 more. That gave me a little bit more depth to my characters. Um, episode 5 left me kind of scratching my head a little bit.
Okay. That's fair. I
Um,
get it. I understand that.
like I don't at the end of that. Listen, we only have what 8 episodes, 8 episodes of
Yeah,
the
eight.
season,
We only have 3
right?
episodes left, I believe.
Yeah, I don't want to be scratching my head after any episode. We got to get to it. We got to
Okay.
get to it, and be very decisive about where you want to go, and I'm on board. But don't leave me scratching my head at episode 5 when I know we got 3 episodes left. Like now, I don't know where the fuck we're going.
Mhm.
Episode 4 was fucking okay. I know where we're going,
Yeah, you know exactly what's
and
happening.
let's go. Like
Yeah.
you're hyping me up. Um, but it was cool. I love seeing Anakin. I love seeing the
Hayden Christensen.
duality in Anakin. I think this is one of the better performances from Christian Hayden or from Christian Hayden
Yeah.
as
As his
Anakin.
character throughout the entire series. Like,
It's one of the better ones.
it's
I
one of the
listen.
top for me.
A
It's
lot of
top
people said that, and I watch a lot of people's content.
reactions and
A
stuff.
lot of people
Yeah.
are saying that this is one of his better performances in Star Wars. I'm not gonna say that. I don't
Yeah.
think this this overshadows episode 3. I'm not gonna say that because episode 3
Oh, that was Prime. Yeah, Prime
that
Christian
was
Haydenson.
that was
Yeah,
some dope shit.
Prime. Yeah.
Um, but what I will say is the character, his new, um, what's the word? Like his new attitude, I guess, is it's good. I like it, and
Very cool.
I think it was displayed very well in this episode. I liked the interaction between him and Rosario Dawson.
Mhm.
I like the whole Clone Wars uh flashback. I think everything looked great. I enjoyed it.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. For me, I really enjoyed this episode. To me, this is like Filoni going back to his roots during the animated series that he was working on.
Mhm.
He really pulled from the series more than anything of the live action that they've ever created. Like this was 100% like really like call back to the series.
I'll
I mean,
agree.
even with the whole like idea of like using the in between in this world between worlds, like, and then making it almost like this placebo kind of like limbo of the in between the afterlife and life and how time interacts and all this other stuff. Being that you can access it from like this ocean, making it like there's like a gateway that might have been near this thing or
What was the
that kind of
lesson?
brought it.
What was the lesson?
Well, the thing is this was her force or vision or whatever vision journey, which would be the equivalent to Luke Skywalker when he's training with Yoda
I get
on
that, but what was
yeah
the lesson?
that the maturity part,
Okay.
like coming to age of the character, like coming to terms and being like, look, what I got from it was
She's
it
like
was
50
almost
years
like,
old in this show, by the way.
yeah, she's fucking, yeah, that's why even the first thing she says is, I'm older now, or she says something about her age in the very beginning, because it's been so long since all of this kind of like fell out. But Ahsoka as a character has always yoked or burdened the idea that she failed Anakin by not saving him. And she's always had that. And the thing about a Jedi is you're just supposed to like not be emotional or not be contented to remorsing or anything like that. You just be free in the mind. And I kind of feel like the whole thing was this was her mind, because the thing about these force ghosts, these force visions, is you're in charge. Your emotions take you to where what you need to go and what you need to see, which is why Luke Skywalker saw Vader, and then when he fucking cuts his ass, he sees himself because he knows that he's that close to becoming part of the dark side. You know what I mean? It tells you, your brain is telling you where you're at in life. And this whole entire experience was Ahsoka Tano's brain and her heart telling her that if she never left Anakin's side, he would have stayed Anakin. And since she chose to depart and go her own way and do her own path and go to the Battle of Mandalore instead of going with him to the other battle during the Clone Wars, that if she would have stayed by him, he would have never been Vader. Like, so she's always kind of like, if she never left his side and made that choice to go off on her own, that she could have saved him. But the thing is she could never have saved him. Like, the balance does not allow that. The balance will always make it right. So like, even now, this whole thing was like, let me ask, like, do you truly believe that was literally Anakin Skywalker's force ghost? Or was that the balance, the force itself working with her to tell her what
That
it
was
was?
Anakin.
So you truly believe that, like through and through, that
Yeah.
you 100% that believe that's Anakin.
That was Anakin. Yeah.
So you don't, there's nothing in your mind that you think that it could be the father, you know,
That would
or
still be Anakin.
yeah.
That would
Well,
still be Anakin. That's still
kind of.
Anakin. No, that's
Why
not
would you
kind
think
of.
that it
That's
would
still
be?
Anakin. Regardless on what he is, it's still Anakin. He would still be the Anakin that went through all of Anakin's life. That would still be Anakin. So it's not
Why do you
like
believe that? Because
what do you
the
mean?
episode doesn't give that to us in that sense.
It doesn't give
All
us
it
anything.
is
The episode doesn't give a shit, bro. That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. Like
yeah,
it's open to interpretation at that point.
interpretation.
Like it's the entire episode is open to interpretation. And I would have loved that episode if it came like episode
More
2
solid.
or episode 3, or if it came earlier on. Don't give that to me in episode 5, because like now we like I don't want to be scratching my head at episode 5. Listen, that was Anakin. I think that Anakin has assumed his role as the father. I think that is the father. Like
Okay.
I think he is the father, but that's also Anakin. It's fucking Anakin. And it's not like because you become this deity, you become this god, that you don't forget who you were in your past life.
Well,
That's
you can't,
Anakin.
because you just return to the source and you're part of the force and you're just part of connected to everything again.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that was Anakin. I get what you're saying, but what I'm saying is even if he is the father, that was Anakin. You cannot have that interaction. You can't have that interaction with uh Ahsoka without being Anakin. You can't call her Snips if you're not Anakin.
Yeah.
You can't take her to certain places if you're not Anakin. You can't do any of that if you're not Anakin, bro.
Yeah, well, I
That was
mean, in the
Anakin.
concept of it too, if it's the force as a living entity, then it knows all that stuff out of comfort. It gives it to her because of what she needs at that moment. So what she needs at that moment is her master to return. Like, she needs
Well,
that,
then
even
that's
though
not the
she doesn't
father.
see
Then
that.
that's not the father. Then
Well, that's the force
that's something
itself. Like,
different. Yeah, then that's
yeah,
not the
that's the
father. That's
force
what I'm
itself.
saying. That's
And
something totally
the
different.
reason why I kind of like it's very important. Well, not important, but like the process is there. So to believe it's Anakin or not to believe it's Anakin, it's okay. It works both the same way. And the
You're talking
reason
about the
why,
force, though. If it's the force, it's something different. That can't be encapsulated in a certain person. Like that's Anakin because he's the one that's balancing the force. He's the one that's he's the one that's balancing the light and the dark force. Like you're talking about the force itself.
Yeah.
So that's Anakin.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I mean,
Anakin, the one that's balancing the light and the dark.
the only
You're
thing,
speaking about the force itself,
yeah.
as in like some mystical being. That's not what we're dealing with. We're
Well, no,
dealing
no.
with
The
the
concept is
manifestation
look,
of the balancing of the light and the dark, which is Anakin.
but where do you get that when the only thing that we knew that happened to Anakin is he becomes a Force ghost at the end of episode 6, I believe. At the very end, when Darth Vader dies as an adult and then becomes a Force ghost and just goes to where Yoda went, Obi-Wan goes where like, they all just go back to the Force, which is when Obi-Wan dies and he gets cut down. He says, "It's going to be cool, man. I'll be back or whatever. I'm just going to be one with the Force."
Mhm.
And then he can speak to people and do stuff, because of what Qui-Gon Jinn was able to find out
Yeah.
by his work with the Force, right? The only thing that we know is Jedi's just go to like this ghostly world that they can kind of travel in between, which I'm guessing is the world in
reason why
between.
This is the reason why Dave has all y'all fucked up is because you guys are still thinking about this whole shit as like this whole like old school fucking Star Wars shit, and
Mhm.
he's on this whole different wave. He's on a whole different fucking wave. Like he's on like level 15, and y'all still on level
Well,
5.
no, I know
Like
exactly who Dave Filoni is because I've seen the Clone Wars and I know where he's at.
he's that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
all that shit that you thought that what you just said right now, what you thought was going on, but like this episode is the reason why. Like it's he's Dave Filoni is trying to explain to you, and that's the one thing I received from this episode
Mhm.
is that he's taking this in a whole nother direction, a direction that you can't quantify with what you know from the past.
Well, no, because
We're past
no,
that.
I'm not working with what I know from the past. The reason why I say that is because when Rey had her vision quest, she saw herself as an evil person, which
Yes.
that's not even an entity.
Mhm.
That's just a vision given by the Force for her to what needs to see so that she doesn't follow down that path.
But even that Ray, that's not Dave. That's not his working. That's not his
That's still Star
shit.
Wars. That's still Star Wars. So
And
unless
this
they're
is
going to uncanonize it based on what Filoni's doing now,
this is where
you still have to take that into consideration.
this is the reason why you're gonna fuck yourself because Dave is on a whole different level. He doesn't care about none of that shit. He's not gonna care. Again, from the one thing I hope anyone is taking away from what we've seen so far from the Filoniverse or from Dave and where he's going is that he does not care about that. He's gonna make his own like this is his own universe, and a lot of people are riding with that. A lot of people are riding with the fact that um you have news of the Lando movie or show coming
Mhm.
out, and no one gives a fuck about that because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm riding with Dave. I'm riding with Dave,
Well,
and
I like
he's
the idea of
taking
the
us.
Lando movie, though.
He's taking us where we need to go, and that's where the fuck I'm gonna go." Like he understands that. Have you ever heard him try to explain the fucking what his universe is? It's like a fucking riddle. It's like a fucking riddle. Like no
Yeah,
one
you have to leave
understands
it
it,
open
bro.
ended so that you can kind of keep working because this is something that you made a comment that I've always respected about, which is you already know the beginning and the ending of this story. And there's only a small
Somewhat.
amount of gap in between that you could fill it with shit. The way Dave Filoni and John Favreau work is they know how to fit shit in the
Do you
middle.
feel that way? Do you still
I feel
feel
they're
that way?
really good at fitting shit in the middle.
No, and I think that's the difference. I think that you're still thinking that they're trying to fill in the gap, and I think they are busting this shit wide the fuck open. And
Well, the thing is because when they went with the last trilogy, they didn't explain enough.
even flirting with recanonizing shit. That's where they are with this shit.
I think what they're doing is they're filling in the gaps and they're doing it very well. Because the thing is, when they created Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars and it ended up becoming popular, is when people were like, "Yo, we want to see this character come to live action," and Dave
Okay.
Filoni was like, "How do I get my cartoon character into the real films?" Because I mean, dude, he brought that dude that was in the fucking kids Star Wars Raiders of the Last Ark shit and made him a real fucking hero. Like what was his name? The actor guy that was Jar Jar Binks. Like he made his fucking reality show kids doing little fucking super splash shit, like fucking splash slime shit or whatever from Nickelodeon. He made his character an actual fucking hero in the story that saved Grogu. Like they're filling in the gaps fucking tremendously. They're about to fill the gap in the story from the Legends and then moved into the Clone Wars, the Battle of Mandalore.
You
And
just
they're
said it
making
right
it to
there,
where the
bro.
Mandalorians are going to return.
That's not filling in the gaps, bro.
That's a huge fill of the gaps.
That's not
because
filling in
all
the
of that
gaps.
shit's going to end up being where it all you watch. It's going to be where Thrawn, his whole entire blueprint is going to create the New Order.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's all they got. Because the idea is like, okay, where do you go from the Empire to the New Order? Like, how did it come to fruition? Like, how is it that the rebels fucking won the war against the two most vicious fucking tyrants in the galaxy? Not in a city, not on a planet, in a whole galaxy. Darth Vader, the fucking legend himself, and Emperor Palpatine, one of the craziest Sith Lords ever to fucking reign in terror. These guys stop these dudes and they take over. They get the fucking rebels take over the nation. How the fuck do they drop the ball and let a whole ass new empire come in and take over under their fucking radar? And right now, Dave Filoni dropped that there is a secret council of politicians that have never been to the war, that weren't in war or whatever, but they're making the rules. And they're telling Hela what she has to do. They're filling in the gaps. They really are filling in the gaps, and they're doing it fucking fairly well. Now, the thing is Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau wrote a whole ass supernatural part in the Clone Wars with the brother, the sister, and the father. And then they wrote in the witches, and they wrote in the sisters. They wrote in the Inquisitors. They wrote in all these characters that have never been touched base in the live action film. But it has such a fan base that they're like, people want to see that in some way. And it's like, why get those assets? Why have such a popularity and never use them? And then try to create a whole new set of shit like they did in these last trilogies and fail miserably. Like fail miserably off of just creating a whole bunch of weird new shit. Like you bring in this guy who is literally in remarkable honor, still honoring what George Lucas was trying to do. And you have him fucking come in and work with the people and make it work. Like right now, I don't see that Kennedy chick finding any loophole around this guy with the popularity he's creating back in Star Wars. Like just in these last two episodes alone, being that the last episode, I think I agree with you where I think that episode was more theatrical and cinematic better because the actors had a serious role. They spoke, they had great dialogue, they had great fight scenes. It gave you turmoil, it gave you stress, you felt the emotion. And this one was just like Apocalypse Now in space. Like it was just such a crazy flashback. But the nostalgia of seeing Christian Haydenson teaching Ahsoka Tano how to let go of her past to be able to fulfill her mastery and become the White Jedi and become a fulfilled master by not being emotional anymore and letting go and listening to the Force rather than fighting it like she has been doing in these last several episodes, where she only uses the Force as a tool, but not listening to it and respecting it as the way it's supposed to be, which is an entity. Because and the reason why I say entity, I don't mean it like in the sense like it's its own thing. Is no, the Force itself is in everything. You remember like the whole Luke Skywalker speech. He's like, it's the living Force. It's just what it is. And it just so happens that these creatures, the father, the son, and the daughter, were all living representations of all of them cultivated into reality. As you said, like deities of the moment. But Ahsoka absorbed Morai. Like, so now Ahsoka Tano in that essence is the daughter. Like that's what made her such a strong Jedi in the first place, is that she is the daughter now. And the thing was Anakin supposed to be the son or the father? Right? That was always my question. The son showed Anakin that he was going to be Darth Vader. Like he was like, yo, I'm going to show you some shit. You're going to be the bad guy. You're going to fucking fail in life. And he fucking showed him. That's why the father then comes in and deletes all the memories from his mind, because he didn't want Anakin to know that was his future. He wanted him to kind of like have freedom of choice, I guess, or whatever. But it was going to happen. It had to happen because the balance doesn't allow that. The balance is always in charge of what happens. Like that's the cool thing is that's like Freddie Prinze Jr. said because he was Kanan. He was like, all that gray Jedi shit, like that's all bullshit. George Lucas told him the balance will always make it happen. It always puts into perspective. There's never a winner and a loser because you're good or you're not. The balance just makes that shit always prevalent, and it kind of makes you look at all this shit weirder when you do that. But like Anakin in this story did something. They did something with his character that was like phenomenally essence. Like it was phenomenal with his character. Is they did like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde with his light and his dark side, where like literally it's almost like two personas living in one person. And when he's either or, the other one is not in charge. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make him change. It doesn't do anything. He could literally like switch it on and off. And I thought that was fucking cool. I thought that was so fucking fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like so fucking fantastic. Overall, the cinematography of the episode, you could tell it was a studio. Like there was this, it was very short in showing the environment. Everything was like fog, a lot of lights and fires in the back. The young actress that came out, I was really surprised they were going to go in that route. I thought they were just going to be Rosario Dawson and Christian Haydenson, but to bring in a young actress to play like the younger characters, I thought that was extremely cool. The costumes were on point. It was like seeing Hayden Christensen cosplay as Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker back in the day. His fighting ability right now is so fucking good. Every time I see this dude hold a fucking lightsaber, like it gets better and better every time. Where did that fight scene fucking did it do anything for you with him and Ahsoka? Like fucking
no,
you didn't feel anything?
That's not this dog. You can't tell me the Anakin from episode 3 was the same Anakin on that fucking bridge in that Ahsoka scene. Fuck out of here, bro. You're telling me that Ahsoka can manhandle Anakin?
No.
So what are we talking about?
He was letting her. He wasn't trying to kill her. He was just making her understand what she needed.
Okay.
I 100% know he was holding back.
Okay.
But like every dude, if you watch it, like watch his footwork and his hands, like
that part was great. I think
he's like Mace, like oh my god.
I don't want to nitpick because I like this episode, but it took me out of it a little bit because like I'm like, bro,
it was a little too much.
Like, Anakin is better than this. Like, I don't know. I guess he was trying to teach her a lesson, but like
I was testing her.
All right, so you go.
Yeah, I 100% think he was testing her.
You go 50% to teach her a lesson. I guess I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, bro.
Because dude, there was one part in the scene where he could have just stabbed her in the fucking face. Like one part that he like stabs in, and like she like barely grazes that shit, and I was like, Anakin's fucking around. Like even enough that at the end when she grabs the thing,
I don't get that. I don't get that he's fucking around.
Well, at the end of the thing, he snaps out of being the dark side, and he's like, "You got it now." Like he's trying to like it's like the teacher getting the student to let loose, and then realize that that's not what they need. It's not about the anger. It's not about letting your emotions be in charge. It's about knowing exactly what you want from it. And when she was like, I'm not going to kill you, he was like, all right, good. That's what I wanted to hear. Like that was a test. That was 100% a test.
I guess.
But he couldn't hold back a lot. He was still giving her some shit. Like, and like he said, like, look, dude, if you don't fight back, you're going to die. Like if you don't protect yourself, you're dead. Like you're dead. Like you're going to die, which is the same situation that happened in every Jedi in their Force vision. When Luke fought Vader in the tree, like if he didn't defend himself and kill Vader, he would have died. But again, like when he cut his face, it was Luke Skywalker in the helmet. Luke Skywalker was not dead at the moment and not in the in between. So that was the Force showing him that if he followed by killing Vader, he would be a part of the dark side, which is why he chose not to kill him. Like the tree told him, don't kill your father and you won't be evil. Then you go to the Rey story, and if Rey didn't defend herself from that fucking sharp-ass tooth chick in the future, that sharp-ass tooth chick would have killed her, and that would have been the evil taking her over. Like she had to allow herself not to be a part of the evil, which was supposed to pull Rey out or Ben Solo out of the light. So like she was going to be given a choice at the end, which was the whole like Palpatine being like, "Yo, let me get in that body, girl. Like, fucking, help me out or whatever. Let me be a part of you." And then being like, "No, we're not going to do that." So like that's the whole thing. I really think that's like it portrayed the essence of a good test. And for Hayden Christensen to come back and be Ahsoka's test, I thought that was brilliant. That was literally like hands down probably one of the coolest things. To me, this episode was the most Filoni, not Star Wars. Like it was just so out of this world, like spectacular, just crazy shit. Even the fucking whale thing, like, yo, let's get in this bitch's mouth and fly off into space for no reason. Like, how does that make sense?
Like,
I don't know.
I think exactly that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think we need to get out of
Not too
this
deep.
whole. Yeah, I think we need to get out of this whole Star Wars thing. It'll be Star Wars as fuck, but I think Dave is on this whole. He's on a whole another wavelength.
This was a perfect example of us seeing like where they probably were like, all right, Dave, we're letting the reins off. You fucking do whatever you want from here on out. You gave us all we needed in between. And now you do whatever you want for the last 3 episodes. And he's like, fucking check this out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to have these motherfuckers get in a whale's mouth and have a 10-year-old kid find Ahsoka fighting a lightsaber battle in the ocean and shit.
See, those are the parts where I just can't give this episode the
like a
the 10 rating, like the tops ratings, because like, the
too many MacGuffins.
Yeah, like the kid hearing the lightsaber. That's like, all right. I listen, and I get it. Like, I was watching my boy Josh from Den of Nerds earlier today, actually, and he was saying like, he's like mapped it out beautifully. He was saying, there's people that like this show, but like it for like the writing and the cinematography, but there's other people that like this show because it's very Star Warsy, like it's very
Star. This episode especially,
yeah, and that's the difference because like there's like some like mystical shit in that and science sci-fi and all that shit. Like I'm like in the middle between both worlds, but there's just some things that I'm just not gonna. I'm not.
I 100% agree with you that I like the grounded nature of the episode 4. I like that it was like so like, hey, you know what? There's a couple of force powers, but like we're gonna fucking swing some swords and do some damage and show some emotion. And then this one went like 100% fucking peyote trip, like fucking did a bunch of mushrooms and just like, yo, we're gonna fill this place up with water. And you're gonna end up in the ocean. You'll be all right when you get there, kind of shit. Like, the Jason character, that's 100% why I messaged you guys like right after the episode, and I was like, yo, like Jason's gonna be this. Like, I think he's gonna be a major character, a major player, but I think he ends up dying in the Jedi Academy with the other kids. Like with the Rey, because it's like the Rey Solo and all that stuff is gonna happen still. A lot of these people, these force sensitive people that end up joining the Luke Skywalker Academy are gonna get fucking, like they're gonna have their fucking school shooting situation happen in their story, and that's just what I see. Like, what would be the odds that Hela, the Rebels person, doesn't put him in Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker's,
Hera.
Jedi Academy? Hera. Like, what are the odds that they don't put her in the academy or him in the academy? But the thing is I think I was telling you guys, like the name Jason is synonymous for like the Star Wars legends. And that's why I think he's going to play a pretty major character. So I'm interested in what they're going to do with him, because that was way too big of a move to give to some side ass character in a streaming service. That was way too big of a fucking move, in my opinion. Maybe he ends up being like Ahsoka's Padawan after or some shit, but it's just way too on the nose. Way too on the nose. Other than that, what did you think? What do you feel like the show's going to do? What are you excited for next?
I don't know. I think the next 3 episodes.
It kind of left me baffled. I'm not gonna lie.
I think exactly. I think they're just gonna go batshit crazy. I think Dave is gonna really like
just give it to us.
Yeah, I think whatever he has in the tank, he's
I
just
hope he
gonna
gives us
he's
lube, man. Goddamn, because
yeah,
it's
I think
crazy.
he's
Because
gonna
they like
bomb.
literally like, tell me if it didn't feel like when they're in the whale and they're getting ready to take off, like that didn't feel like that should have been the season finale.
We saw two Rebels season, yeah, maybe, but we saw Ahsoka flying in a fucking Purgle's fucking mouth, dude. So it's like
He had a whale's mouth for no reason.
who knows where the fuck we go from here,
I wonder
but
if they're gonna show us bouncing
I
around
don't
in the whale
know. I
because
don't
there's no
know. I
sun.
don't know where they're gonna go from this. I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
This was a really good episode.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm happy with that
yeah.
shit.
I give it about an 8.5. Yeah, I'll give it up there too, man. I think it's a great episode. Uh, I kind of feel like like you said, it's a little too much for being like one of the last like 3 or 4 episodes left for us to get like all of this information dropped on us with no like definitive what the fuck is going on, mom. But yeah, I'm still excited. Thrawn, I'm so excited to fucking see, dude. Like from these last 2 episodes, like being so on the nose, close to Rebels and Clone Wars. Like I'm really excited to see him in live action now. Like I could see where they were like, "Yo, this is gonna be in theaters." Like I could see that 100% that this would have been in theaters. But yeah. So Brian, what do you got planned for this weekend, my dog?
Just hanging out. Tired as fuck, man. I've been working all week.
Mhm.
Starting actually I got a job opportunity presented to
Ooh,
me earlier today, actually,
nice,
working for the Rutgers University, which
nice.
is the state college here. So looking forward to that. That process takes a little bit long, but
Which
hopefully
university?
Rutgers.
Rutgers.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
State University.
How far are you from Syracuse?
Syracuse is 8 hours for me.
8 hours? Oh shit.
Yeah, it's like it's that's northern New York State. Why?
One of my younger students that used to train with me just graduated from high school, and she got accepted to Syracuse. Now she's up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Syracuse is nice. I am a Syracuse college fan. So
Yeah.
I like Syracuse. I think they have a very good school up there. The programs are really good as well.
It looks beautiful,
Um
man.
yeah, no, it's really nice up there. It's about 8 hours for me driving, anyways.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, but that's northern New York.
It's a nice area.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice area. Yeah, she got accepted for theater and art, like theater
nice.
arts, acting and stuff. So hopefully we see her in the fucking big screen one day.
Yeah,
Hopefully. So,
good school.
yeah. I got pretty much just commission building this coming weekend. A little bit of chill, and just work on some art. That's all I got,
Nice,
man. But
cool.
Brian, I gotta say thank you for jumping on the show with me, man. I appreciate you rushing back to come and be on the show and
Yeah, man,
all that stuff.
wouldn't
I
miss
literally
it.
had one more thing on the show that I want to talk, but we're already getting past it. It was for the Deadpool cameo list. Like it just keeps getting more wild and wild. We could probably talk about it next week though. They
Definitely do
just
it next
dropped
week.
today. Keith Urban is going to be playing a variant of Deadpool,
Yeah,
and it's like, damn, that's crazy, dude. There's so many fucking people that are going to be in that movie. So many fucking people that are going to be in that movie. But all right, I want to say thank you to all of our extraordinary listeners for tuning in with us. We appreciate every one of you guys. We hope you're having a safe weekend. Go out there, do some cool shit, be safe, and enjoy your weekend. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys again here next Friday here on the Average Boys Podcast. Don't forget, check us out on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasting, anywhere you watch your podcast at. Shit, jump on us on YouTube. And if you guys have Twitch, don't forget we have a Discord. Look us up, Average Boys with a Z podcast. And yeah, well, thank you guys. And we'll see you guys again here next Friday here on the Average Boys Podcast. We love you. See you guys later. Laters.